Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the broadcast. My goodness. It is I, Finn, of the Control Finn broadcast, and we're coming at you live and alive from sunny Lisbon. It is pretty sunny these days. Summer is arriving, clearly. But welcome to the broadcast, everyone. Here we talk about a bunch of different things. We talk about the news, we talk about politics, we talk about economics, all so that we might hope to begin to understand a little bit better the precarious situation that we are finding ourselves in, whether you are, a student, whether you go to work, whether, whatever place in society you hold, that you might understand it just a little bit better and be able to make better decisions because of it, especially as a collective, all of us together and all that. So yeah, we'll get to all of the news commentary. I mostly focus on European news, European happenings because, well, I am born and raised in the Netherlands. I'm a Dutch Portuguese person, and right now I'm living in Portugal, but my whole life I grew up in the Netherlands, so I feel I have a particular fondness, let's say, for talking about issues that stretch across European borders. But before we get into all of that a little bit more, I'll just inform you guys about how I'm doing, how I've been, what I've been up to. So yeah, I think last time I streamed, which was Wednesday. There was a general strike in Portugal, so I had tried to do an IRL stream, but it just didn't go well. The technology failed me, so we also did a little bit of a afternoon stream at home, a desk stream. So you guys witnessed that, and I was still kind of recovering. I was feeling a little bit sick, but I'm doing a whole lot better now. I feel like I'm practically fully healed, so that's great. And what else? Well, honestly, it's just been work. I'm really just trying to figure out a way as well to get back into, information studying, information aggregation, studying, for the best of you guys, so that I can present you guys with a bit of an interesting broadcast. And, well, I've been trying to do a bit of exercise here and there, all that good stuff, yada, yada. But yeah, I definitely am trying to find a practical way to just dive back into, studying. Because I think sometimes what was really causing me issues with like getting overwhelmed with what I'm trying to do was like I was trying to, you know, as I am going through all the news stories, I'm trying to understand all of the news stories very detailed, and that is just undoable. It is undoable with the amount of resources and time that I have. So, I definitely want to react and, respond and take a part of the news stories that I find important on stream, but I will, of course, do my best to be informed, but also, I will focus a lot on more, you know, some other types of understanding and knowledge. Now, what do I mean by that? For example, I am usually coming at things from like a Marxist economics analysis. Oh goodness, my grandma bought. This is side note, but my grandma brought a whole bunch of cherries that she got while she visited the village. But now the cats are constantly sniffing it. But it's like, I don't know, cherries and cats don't necessarily mix well for the most part. So I'm just trying to make sure that they don't fucking dive into the bag of cherries. Oh, there. Wait, guys, give me a second, okay? Yeah. All right. They're not close to the cherries anymore. Anyway, but yeah, so I'm just trying to study a little bit more, study up on my Marxism. Like, for example, one of the things that I really want to keep in mind or understand better, I just want to understand economics better, right? I studied a bit but not exclusively. It was just more like a multidisciplinary approach that I had in university. So I focused on economics, but also on politics, history, and culture and language. So I'm like a multidisciplinary student, but I'm personally very interested in political economic analysis. Um, of course, very typical in the Marxist tradition of things. But, for example, one of the things I want to dive into a little bit is like the idea of national debt. And I found it very interesting as I was reading and going through everything. The type of tool that national debt is. And so we'll dive into it as we go through all of the news because we have a bunch of stuff to cover. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Maybe at the end of the day, we'll do some, I don't know, gaming. Maybe a bit of chess. We'll see. It depends on what people are feeling, but yeah, that's it for now. Yeah, as far as what we're gonna dive into, honestly, we can just dive into the news. Nice clean start. Oh yeah, let me pull up my little chatterino. Caterino. There he goes again. He's going for the damn cherries. Let's see, boys. Maybe if I pull up a chair for him, for the cats, you can't see it, but I'm trying to get a chair close here. Caterino. So that he can feel included, because I feel like right now he's just in his explore mode, but I don't want him to explore something that is literally toxic to him. Annika. Anna. Come on. Oei. What a silly baby. Say hi. Alright, you want to sit here? Uh-oh. He saw my hair tie. Yeah, good job, honey. You want to just hang out with me a little? Instead of with the cherries? That's so cool. I guess the camera can't see it, but you guys can just use your imagination. There's a cat sitting right next to me here. Let's see. Maybe I can do... Nah, let's do it like this. Actually, let me just... Right. Okay, fellas. Okay, peeps. Alright, so let's just dive into it. So this was my little blast off meme for today. It's not really a meme, but it's some cool art. Yeah. Because, guys, we are cracking open this European illusion that a lot of us might be living under, which is the idea that, well, European countries have a liberal democracy, or that European countries, have social institutions that are geared up to help their populations, or, that development exists for the better of the population. And I don't want any, illogical, incorrect, non-factual, racist bullshit spewing here that it is immigrants or whatever that ruined it. No, it's literally the typical, cookie cutter European leaders that are very purposefully, doing exactly, executing the plan exactly as it was planned, which is that, use whatever levers of power, use whatever, resources you have access to transfer wealth from the working class to the capitalist ruling, elites. And so we're going to do our best to hammer away at that European illusion today, and explain that things are going exactly as planned. This includes, Europe's support for Israel's genocide in Gaza. This includes, the repression that we see in European countries. This even includes the fucking Albania story right now, where the Kushners and Trump, I guess, are trying to just literally get a piece of land that they can develop that's like wildlife protected, etc. Like those types of things are never for the good of the population. They're for the good of the ruling capitalist elite. And I want to just zoom in a little bit on the UK is that it is debt maxing, just as a crystallized example of the theory that we're going to be talking about. Because debt, public debt, national debt is one of the most powerful, like primitive, you know, tools of accumulation, which is a very central concept in Marxist analysis. The point is that, a society, a capitalist society, faces increased financialization. Like every little bit of the society gets financialized, and the state ends up acting kind of as a debt manager, right? And it just pretty much ensures that all of the wealth is transferred to the rich. All of the losses of the rich are paid for by the working class. So, in the UK, this is also just a very interesting example because it has been going on for such a long time over there. And how it is connected to, well, a country like the United States. And if you go back further to a country like the Netherlands. And to keep things also as well focused on Gaza, Iran, and Lebanon. We're going to go through a whole bunch of the Iran, Israel, Lebanon, Gaza updates. We're just going to talk about everything because it's so connected. Even if the Lebanese government doesn't want it to be connected. And it's like, it's telling Iran that we're not a bargaining chip. Well, I don't know. Like, what Iran is doing is like, hey, the ceasefire needs to include Lebanon. And Lebanon is like, don't tell them what to do. We're not your bargaining chip. First of all, Israel is invading your country. It's ethnically cleansing people from the south. And you're here. It's just mind-blowing. Anyway, we'll get to it. As a starter, let's just go through all of the videos and we'll just, get to things piece by piece. I guess. Oh, sorry, guys. Oh. You'll excuse me. But yeah, so there. Like I said, we're gonna just go through a bunch of news and we'll talk about things as they come up. Because, well, Germany, speaking of the European illusion, Germany is a really, really, really funny, in a sad way, a really interesting example of this, like, just society filled with contradictions, right? I have a couple of news that I want to get to about Germany. So, for example, we're going to talk about right now, did the support for Israel cost Germany a UN Security Council, like a permanent UN Security Council seat? As well as, your German manufacturing is trying to kind of muster up some kind of, strategy for being competitive. But let's just dive into it. Let's see how loud this will be. Let's see in it. It's kind of cold. The helly? Oh man, why does it always like this? It always just takes such a long time. Maybe if I refresh?
We begin in New York, where Germany has failed to win a seat on the United Nations Security Council. In a vote by the UN's General Assembly, Germany lost out to Portugal and Austria for 2 temporary seats from the regional group Western Europe and others. The UN Security Council is considered the United Nations' most powerful body and consists of 15 members, 5 permanent and 10 non-permanent members that each have 2-year terms. Today, Austria, Portugal, Trinidad and Tobago, Zimbabwe, and Kyrgyzstan were elected.
Portugal! Shout out Portugal! I don't know a good Portugal. Oh, I do know. Sí! Sí! Let's go. Let's fucking go. Germany. Too bad, brother. So I guess I was saying that Germany lost a permanent UN Security Council seat. I guess it's just also the temporary one. Crazy. I mean, I guess I guess the UN not necessarily is not the same as NATO, but NATO, if we talk about international bodies that kind of have these like Western countries very centrally involved with all the decision making, it is very funny that like at least NATO was very much called into power because France also was just like, please, America, please help us contain Germany because Germany is very scary when it gets a lot of weapons. And at the same time, America's like, yeah, we'll do that because we don't want Germany to fall into the hands of the communists, of the Soviets. So, yeah. But anyway, I guess they weren't chosen for the temporary seat or whatever.
By the UN's General Assembly as members for the coming term starting in 2027. Well, let's listen to the German foreign minister's reaction after the result was announced.
For this federal government, and also for myself, I can say that we fought up to the very last minute. We gave everything we had. And yes, there are some issues we have always taken a clear position on. Positions not all UN member states share.
Our correspondent Benjamin Alvarez.
So vague. I wonder what the positions are, my guy. Please elucidate me.
Gruber is in New York and has been following this vote all along. Benjamin, Germany has failed to win a seat on the Security Council. How much of a diplomatic blow is this for Berlin?
It is a huge diplomatic blow, especially considering that Germany lost in the first round. It wasn't clear who would make it. A very strong...
Lost in the first round, my guy. That sucks. Sucks to suck. Is Germany in the World Cup? Wait. Is Germany in the World Cup? Oh, they are. Well... Let's hope for them they don't get out in the first round. Like with their fucking UN Security Council vote. Or a seat vote.
Race that we've seen two strong contenders, Austria and Portugal. So what we heard from the German delegation is that they have been doing this lobbying.
But so how does the voting even work, I guess? Like, people are just like, oh, I think it's Portugal is such a nice country to be on a Security Council. Like, what does that even mean? Kind of weird.
Work, of course, for years, but now, especially in these final days, Foreign Minister Johann Wadefull, who we just heard that he arrived on Thursday last week, he has been meeting dozens of delegations to try to get their vote. But as we just heard him, they are very disappointed, German Foreign Minister, who mentioned these issues that says not everyone is on Germany's side. He mentioned German support for Ukraine, German support for Israel, and also...
No, not them being like, oh, I can't believe they hate us for our support for Ukraine. No. I don't think it's like that, dude. I don't think people are, breathing down your neck for your support for Ukraine, which if we're honest, it's not a matter of support for Ukraine. It is keeping the war in Ukraine going under the false notion that we have to defend Ukraine. So, let's be honest about what support for Ukraine actually means. But yeah, Germans fucking like direct and indirect supporting of Israel's genocide in Gaza is one of the most disgusting, horrifying, like morally bankrupt things we are seeing in the 21st century. It is beyond anything that people have seen for the most part, and especially in Germany, a country that has such a like it's the country that people think about when they think about who perpetuated a historic genocide in the last century. So it's just so incompetent. I don't know how else to say it. It's just so it's it's just like, it's kind of interesting, I will say, that, you know, on the one hand, clearly these people are like high on their own supply, believing in the European delusion. But when it comes down to this type of stuff, the hard reality kind of comes crashing in, even in an institution like the UN, which, you know, you could say what you want, but there are still a lot of people there that, you know, are not under the thumb of like Israeli lobbies. So
that this candidacy was announced pretty late, comparing it to the candidacies from Lisbon and also of Vienna, of Austria, the two countries that will have this non-permanent seat at the UN Security Council.
So you mentioned what the foreign minister said there with Germany supporting Ukraine and Israel. Were those considered controversial enough by other members of the UN General Assembly to stop Germany from winning?
So you mentioned additional 2 points, but to get to your question, Terry, so he mentioned the steadfast support by Ukraine. He especially also talked about Russia, saying that there is definitely a country that would not like to see Germany in the Security Council. He also mentioned a Russian negative campaign that Russia launched by talking to other members, trying to get them to not vote for Germany. But it is German support for Israel, especially in the Arab world, even though German officials try to downplay it, saying that there are many similarities. But that is a very critical point in this candidacy for this Security Council, as many accuse Germany of a double...
My back is itching so bad, but it's in a spot that I can't reach. Maybe with this pen. Ugh. Maybe if I go through the hole in my arm. Ah, it's so itchy. Dude, what the fuck? Ugh, kind of. Guys, chat, help me out here. That's tough. Okay, maybe this way. Just a good old bear scratch on a tree. Oh, that actually kind of is hitting the spot. Okay, guys. We did it. We scratched my own back. All right, continuing.
Standard when it comes to human rights, when it comes to rule of law, and that's a criticism that not just Germany, but also Annalena Baerbock, who was the German foreign minister before Johann Wadephul, who is still the president of the General Assembly, has faced over and over her turn now.
European countries.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, and the issue is like, it is just some, you know, strong words criticism. We're like, they're not even being faced with like any substantial boycotts or like that sort of thing that would actually put a lot of like economic and eventually like political pressure. Like, okay, I will say there is a lot of political pressure from Germans themselves. If I just can pull this up. So this was like an opinion poll that came out about large majorities in most countries have negative views of Israel. And so, yeah, no, these are all the countries. And let me just see. Germany's right here. The blue side is anything from very to somewhat unfavorable. And the green side is somewhat favorable to very favorable. And only 23% of Germans have a favorable view of Israel, low percentage than the UK or France. And so, you know, Germany here, 70... Oh, wait, how do I read this? Wait, who have a... okay, so very unfavorable... No, I'm not understanding this. 16, 21... Oh, okay. Those who did not answer are not shown. Okay, so if I'm understanding correctly, 65 is favorable, 28 is unfavorable, which means that... Wait, guys, let me do some math here. So that's 85, 93 total, and so 7% didn't answer. So it's 7 didn't show, if I'm understanding correctly. Okay, so for Germany, it is 73% is unfavorable, where that where from that 73, 24% is very, and 49% is somewhat unfavorable. And then there is 23% that is favorable. From that 20% is somewhat favorable, and 3% is very favorable. But yeah, that is kind of a crazy stat. Sweden kind of leading the chart there with 78%, together with Spain 78%, and Netherlands, Italy. But yeah, Germany very, very high as well. Which is interesting because, yeah, you have this fucking government who just cannot stop supporting Israel with every breath they take. It is kind of insane. And, you know, I'm not of the persuasion that I'm like, oh, the Israeli government is controlling all these other governments. Oh, no. Because that really makes it seem as if European governments are just some weak little, like, oh, we have no power. We just do. No, this is, you know, whatever Israel's doing is because it fits exactly with what the United States and what, you know, other Western European countries want to do. It just, you know, they're in lockstep. Okay. And yeah, I mean, if you look at these other stats, there are some that are really quite strongly, like Pakistan, Malaysia, Indonesia, even Japan. Damn. India, I mean, of course, Sri Lanka is also kind of split down the middle. Turkey, West Bank, Jerusalem, and then South Africa. That kind of surprises me, but maybe it shouldn't. And then South America. Yeah, I think I mean, this is pretty recent. This is spring 2026. So I mean, I think if you were to do this like 5 or 10 years ago, it would have been looking maybe almost flipped, or at least somewhat more leaning to the majority on the favorable side. But yeah, I mean, and then these people are like, they're doing these fucking campaigns to get a Security Council seat, and it doesn't work out, and they are what, surprised? That can't be. You can't be surprised. Everyone right now that has access to the internet, to one way or another, knows what is going on in Gaza, and that it is being done by Israel. It is not a war with Palestinians. It is a genocide. And even the German population itself is very unfavorable, is leaning very unfavorable. So, you know, you cannot be surprised, quite frankly.
Normally,
I mean, I think I was looking in the comments. I live in Germany. I'm glad the government now gets what it deserves for double standards. Germany not only destroyed international human rights efforts, but also an obstacle in the EU development. As a German, I support this election. German politicians and the governments are hypocrites. And of course, the 5 permanent all cancel each other. Blah. Obviously, it's, yeah. So anyway.
Open competition with each other for Security Council seats, as you know. Why did this election turn into a 3-way public battle between Germany, Austria, and Portugal?
That's right. They usually try to avoid exactly this, to have several rounds of voting. This could have continued for hours. We were prepared to have not 1, but 2 or 3 rounds of voting until the candidates get the required 2/3 majority of all the members in the United Nations General Assembly. It wasn't necessary because this was only one vote in Germany. Officially announced the candidacy very late. Portugal and Austria had announced that they would be running for these 2 seats for the Western European and others. That's the name of the group, countries. But then Germany continued and has been applying for this non-permanent seat at the UN Security Council for every 8 years. But this is the first time that it failed. It would have been the 7th term of Germany as a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council, but that will not be the case. So we can expect more reactions, not only here in New York, but also in Berlin, because this would have been good news for the German government that has been facing a lot of criticism from the public in Germany.
There's been talk for years, Benjamin, about the possibility of Germany becoming a permanent member of the Security Council. Does that look even less likely now in light of today's vote?
So there have been discussions ongoing for a long time that there needs to be a restructuring of this, the most important body of the United Nations, the Security Council, and not when it comes to the non-permanent members that do not have a veto, but when it comes to the 5 permanent members that have a right to veto that has been used, especially on the US side when it comes to Gaza, on the Russian side when it comes to Ukraine. There have been conversations of more countries or organizations joining the Security Council as permanent members, but this setback for Germany not even getting as a non-permanent member, not even getting a non-permanent seat at the UN Security Council will definitely not help a possible future push to be one of the permanent members with a veto right at the Security Council.
Benjamin, thank you very
God,
much.
that
DW's
would be.
Benjamin.
I think that would be kind of interesting because, like I said, even if we look at something like NATO, France is very. I mean, they kind of ended up working together with Germany. You know, after World War II, they ended up working together on things with Germany, especially after the fall of the Berlin Wall and all that stuff. Germany was really absorbed into the, capitalist global system. But France always was a bit, hesitant starting off because Germany's did a lot of crazy shit. Caterino? Psst. Caterino. Oh my goodness, guys. Hey. Oops. Good job, honey. Good job. But yeah, I guess we will see because I don't know if Germany ever gets a permanent seat. That's insane, man. What is the UN even about at that point, honey? Good job, honey. You guys can't see it, but Katrina's here with me. Oh, you can kind of see it. No, never mind. That was my own hand. Oh. Good job, honey. All right. Ow.
Alvarez Gruber in New York.
Yeah, you scraping your teeth on my arm? Good boy.
All right, DW's Berlin Bureau Chief Max Hoffman, he has been following this vote for us. So, Max, we know that Germany wanted a seat on the Security Council. It lobbied hard for it. How big of a hit is this?
This is a pretty big hit, especially if you consider the timing, Brent, the state of the government in general, which is very unpopular. This would have been a breath of fresh air. This could have been a victory that this government puts in front of it and said, look, things are looking up and we'll put all our weight into the Security Council to make this, a better world. That's always the ambition if you are in the Security Council. Whether that would have been possible is a different story, but now nothing will be possible because Germany didn't get that non-permanent seat.
How big of a surprise is this outcome, Max?
To tell you the truth, and we're not alone with that, we thought this was likely to be a success story. And in our talks with...
They're joking. Oh, God. Man, DW, they're... How do I put it? They are really delusional. Yeah, that's maybe enough. They're just delusional. Like, oftentimes when they, for example, there was a protest going on, led by high schoolers, German high schoolers, and other young people to protest against the, encroaching, conscription and just a general militarizing of society. When young people, when children that would potentially be sent to the front lines are protesting for, less bloodshed, please, these people would invite the leading figure to come and speak and just kind of berate him. That's what DW News kind of is. They come across as very softy liberals, but they scratch a liberal and a fascist bleeds or whatever. This is just whatever the saying is, they very quickly reveal themselves not to be such squishy liberals and just really, very clear mouthpieces for states' decisions. It is insane. So I'm not surprised that they thought that this would be a success story. Like, what do you mean? Are you that high on your own farts that you couldn't see that this would be, like, of course, you're not in your bubble. Like, I don't know, man. It is kind of crazy that they believe the European delusion that much.
Representatives from the foreign ministry, for example, there was also cautious optimism. But the whole campaign was more difficult than many campaigns in the past because in the bloc, which Germany is part of, the Western European and other countries, that's what this bloc is called, there were two other campaigns from Austria and from Portugal, so friends. Not really competitors here, and there are only 2 seats for that bloc. Now, Austria and Portugal declared their campaign much earlier than the Germans, who only declared their campaign in 2019. I know it sounds like a lot of time, but in these circles, you need even more time. So there was a lot of competition there, and in the end, that didn't help Germany.
And Max, we know that these votes can be very political. Did Germany lose some?
Bro, what can you say? These votes can be very political. My brother in Christ, you're talking about the UN Security Council. Of course it's going to be political. What are you talking about? I know that he's referring to, like, the way that people end up voting. It's very, like, motivated maybe by reasons outside of, like, direct, like, implied competency for the position. But of course it's political. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Germany is directly involved in supporting and maintaining a genocide. Germany is manufacturing weapons that go there. Like, what are you talking about? Of course. This is so ridiculous, man. Jesus Christ.
Support because of its unwavering support of Israel.
That's a question.
Israel's genocide. Finish the fucking sentence. It, like, yeah, sure, supporting Israel in itself is crazy, but the direct support for Israel's genocide is on another level, man. It's just, I mean, all of it sucks, but, like, Germany has, like, a unique position in maintaining the genocide as well.
We heard a lot in the last weeks, and that I also heard in New York City when I was with the German foreign minister in New York a couple of weeks back, and that was during a very heavy stretch of campaigning. Very impressive, by the way, the workload that the foreign minister...
Very impressive, by the way. Dude, take their dicks out of your mouth. Be a fucking journalist. What is... This, honestly, I don't like watching DW News that much for this reason, because what do you mean? You have to do a little glug in the middle of doing something that should be really important reporting, and you haven't even mentioned Israel's genocide once. You mentioned Israel as if the, beautiful political friendship between these two countries, and there's just, like, mean other countries that, just are rude. No, do some fucking journalism. Oh my God.
Minister had there with all the ministers and the representatives of state.
The workload for the foreign minister. Oh, so impressive. If you don't shut the fuck up.
He met there with the ambassadors, probably about, well over 100 in total. And that question was asked back then too. Now, the truth is we can't know because those votes are secret, right? And so nobody will know for sure what the reasons were, especially because there are different reasons for every country to vote for another country. These votes usually are pretty transactional. It's like, okay, we'll vote for you now, and then you vote for us next time for a different position.
They're talking about this like this is the fucking Eurovision, bro. I cannot deal with these motherfuckers at DW. They're talking about this with the lightheartedness as if, Germany didn't get into the semifinals because just, darn it, the usual allies didn't vote for us. It's so delusional. And it's delusional because he said it himself. They thought it was going to be a success story. It is so utterly delusional. It is insane. It is very similar to the way that, looking at the United States and the Trump administration, it is very similar to the way in which Trump surrounds himself with just yes men. I'm not pro United States empire by any stretch of the imagination, but the way Trump surrounds himself with yes men, incompetent, stupid yes men, is very different than what the United States used to do, which, yes, you will execute all of the demands of America's ruling class with all of the, horrifying foreign policy that comes with it, but you have to do it in a way that is competent. And if you're going to make mistakes, you need to have people in the room that are like, no. That is completely gone now in the United States. And the way that this guy is talking about this, this story, the way he's reporting on it, mind you, he is the chief of the DW bureau in Berlin. So this is he's up there. He's not doing any journalism. It's fucking insane. It's insane. It's just, gurgling on Germany's dick for what? For what? It's whitewashing genocide by not even mentioning it. And just like they're doing a reporting on it that's like 11 minutes, and it is just useless. It is horrible reporting.
Or something like that. But a lot of observers do believe that this position might have hurt or might have not helped at least, but that's not the only political position Germany has. There's also its political position on Ukraine, for example. And what we've been hearing is that Russia had a pretty aggressive...
Yes. The German support of Ukraine is exactly the same as German support for Israel. So they just, honestly, okay, if I'm, ich bin Germany, ich bin the German foreign minister trying to get elected for UN Security Council, yeah. And ich snapped, I don't understand it at all, yeah. My support for Ukraine and my support for Israel, I don't understand. The people that hate it must be horrible people. They're Russia and they're anti-Semitic. They're horrible people. I'm just Germany. I'm just such a good country. That's crazy, man. It's crazy that they ever so briefly mention Israel. And then they're just like, oh yeah, Ukraine or Russia. But it's
campaign
typical.
in the back against Germany. How successful that
Talk
was.
about
Also
Israel's
hard to say,
genocide,
because
bro.
In the end,
Talk about the genocide.
there will never be disclosure why certain countries voted the
Because you're contributing in genocide. There, I'll add that for you.
different way. So it's a very complicated maneuver, but
It is not complicated. You're just omitting the facts.
Max, that money talks, or money is supposed to talk. Germany is the second largest financial contributor to the UN after the United States.
And the United States is not contributing money as it should, so that's why the UN is falling apart.
leverage. And it does that independently from a seat in the Security Council. And it's certainly appreciated.
All right, I'm over this video. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, this is happening. Also, some other things were happening. So, for example, one of the other things that was happening was that, Jesus, burps, was that EU leaders are at a Balkan summit, just kind of talking about how certain Western Balkan countries can maybe be better integrated into the EU as they seek full membership. So, yeah, which is interesting because, I mean, speaking of Germany, Germany had a very particular position and relationship with East Europe and even with Russia prior to the, Nord Stream pipeline bombing and all of that. And is that, Germany would take this really cheap, accessible Russian gas, Russian fossil fuels, and it would use this captive labor market of Eastern European workers to, really pump up its manufacturing. And that's why for a long time, Germany really was the manufacturing hub of Europe. It was doing a lot of manufacturing, had a really strong surplus. But that, things are changing, especially now that we're in a era of permanent war between Russia and Ukraine, as fanned on by Europe and America, because it's just such a gosh darn good opportunity for a bit of weapons manufacturing and making some money from it. But yeah, now you also have this little situation, and I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I haven't read up that much about it, but I can imagine that, you know, maybe it is just in that sphere of things. Like, yeah, it would be kind of insane to maybe have more countries enter NATO, because I mean, look at what that did with Ukraine and things like that. But you know, having countries have a certain, you know, political, economic participation with the EU can be beneficial for countries like Germany and France and the no, not the UK, but countries like Germany, France, and Netherlands, as far as labor that they can exploit, and extra and new markets that they can use, right? So let's have a quick look through this article. Leaders of European countries, including gathered in the whatever. Leaders of European Union countries gathered in the picturesque port of Tivat on Montenegro's Adriatic coast for the annual EU Western Balkans Summit, with expanding the bloc topping the agenda. After the summit, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz said that he was optimistic about a Franco-German initiative aimed at injecting fresh momentum into the accession process by creating incentives for faster reforms. Host Montenegro leads a list of 6 candidate countries, which also include Albania, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Kosovo, North Macedonia, and Serbia. EU expansion is seen by Brussels as a response to the new geopolitical challenges, including security and economic threats posed by Russia and China, and increasing ambivalence towards the bloc from the United States. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I was explaining. I think the China part where it comes into it is like, you know, China is just very competitive at producing a lot of products right now, whether that be electric vehicles, all of that stuff. So, you know, one way for Europe to kind of coerce and force, you know, these countries in the Balkans to be a part of Europe's bloc is to do this type of stuff, right? Hold these little carrots in front of their face, even though they would maybe be better off directly talking with the Chinese. Who knows? EU enlargement must be faster. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said that the EU needed to make the enlargement process faster and more credible. Enlargement is for us a geostrategic imperative, and as long as long-term investment in our peace, our stability, and our security, von der Leyen said, adding the accession process had to become more dynamic. The process of becoming an EU member state takes many years, with candidates required to fulfill institutional and governance required in a multi-stage process. The Franco-Germany... What is this translation, man? It is very weird. The Franco-German plan, supported by Merz, envisions candidate states being admitted as observers to meeting of EU bodies. Merz said other incentives could include advanced integration into the euro payment area or inclusion into a single-rate cross-border data roaming. The German Chancellor said the people of the Western Balkan countries should. See, what is wrong with this article, man? Whoa, that's crazy, man. That's some crazy way to type. We will now launch a gradual process, Merz said, emphasizing that the process should be accelerated. There are no more excuses. So, yeah, they're just... I mean, it is very clearly something that they're like, okay, we need to protect both our access to cheap labor, and we need to protect our access to, you know, markets to sell. And I don't know, it's just, that's pretty much what it comes down to, right? They don't necessarily care about what Russia is going to do in these places. Russia is just a boogeyman that they can use and pull out at any given moment to you know, get things moving, get people scared. So that's just something I wanted to add at the end there. What else did I have? Yeah, so so there's going to be a different ways in which this is going to happen. Like it's not going to be like full membership for people, for all member states, for all, how do you say that? It's not going to be like you get a full membership, you know, for any state that wants to join. It's going to be a bit of a, I guess here they say it as a membership light plan. So, you know, they are just, again, they're dangling a carrot in front of these countries that might have better options right now. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Let's see what else. Did I have anything else saved about that? I felt like I did. So maybe I did not. I think that's maybe it. Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe other videos. Oh yeah, let's go to this one right now. Because yeah, like I said, I gave you guys, I sketched a little a picture in your minds regarding that. Is this gonna load or is it gonna
The past
be shitty? Okay. Yeah, so I sketched a little idea in your mind, right? Germany was fulfilling a very specific role in the, you know, with the surrounding resources and countries that it had prior to the Russia-Ukraine war. It was taking really cheap, accessible Russian fossil fuels, and it was taking cheap, accessible labor markets, and it was using accessible, you know, markets for their product in Eastern Europe as well, in order to gain that much surplus, right? Exploit that many resources and people, working class people. But now, for a long time, they weren't doing anything with the massive profits that they were raking in. Of course, those profits were just going to their capitalist class, to their ruling class. And Germany also is famous, German companies are famous for their tax dodging. So that's kind of what the situation was. And for a long time, it didn't matter. Germany had a surplus, and that was also, you know, contributing a lot to the European trade surplus, until China kind of was also developing their manufacturing base. And not just that, it was innovating the type of things that it was manufacturing. And so eventually, you can even see it between the trade relation between China and Germany. The German trading surplus after 2012 was starting to shift. Now it was China that was having surpluses, and not just, you know, by just whatever the fuck flooding the markets. They had competitive products, either with price or just with, you know, the way that the cars, the electric vehicles, the things that it comes with, people were enthusiastic about it and they wanted it. And the same can't be said for German cars in that way. And so, well, there you go. There was competition. Now, what that led to, what the consequences is that, well, what are you going to do? Are we going to innovate? And I mean, chat, you know, if you see this, what do you think? You hear this situation, right, chat? What do you think that the German corporations, what a company like Volkswagen decided to do? You think they're going to innovate? If you think they're going to innovate, press 1 in the chat. If you think they're going to fire a whole bunch of people, press 2 in the chat. Go ahead. Go ahead. Think about the answer. Well, I guess it's a bit of a trick question because they kind of did both, but not in the way you think. Well, first of all, they were closing factories. They were firing people, like tens, hundreds of thousands of people. I don't have the exact number in mind, but it was just a lot of people. And this is just specifically for Volkswagen, right? And this is something that hadn't happened since Volkswagen first opened. So this is like historic, right? And even all of that was happening at the same time as that they were making decisions that, okay, well, maybe we can use this manufacturing to manufacture weapons, right? So now we're not only going to lose jobs and, you know, we're going to lose manufacturing, we're going to use all of that infrastructure for militarization, which is inherently going to give less than you put into it. You're going to get less out of it than you put into it. So there we are, right? That's where Germany is at right now. Most European countries have an extremely high debt to GDP ratio, meaning that I think for the UK right now, it is around 95%, maybe a little bit below at this point. But France is really high. So all of these countries don't have a lot of wiggle room. Now, Germany has a little bit more, still has a high debt to GDP ratio, but has a little bit more wiggle room. So it will be interesting to see what they will do. But so let's have a look at this video. Apparently, Volkswagen CEO is on some new shit, on some new EV shit. So let's see what this reporting is going to say.
Years have been a string of bad headlines for Volkswagen. Problems in China, cost-cutting, tariffs. Now some good news. It says it's on the offensive. Volkswagen is releasing 4 new EV models for Europe's volume market this year. The ID Polo, Cupra Raval, Skoda Epiq, and ID Cross are all built on the same platform and all in Spain. Well, I traveled this week to Martorell, Spain, where VW marked the production start for Polo and Raval. And I had a chance to speak with Volkswagen Group CEO Oliver Blume. Take a listen.
Yeah, Oliver Blume, we talked about this being an emotional day for you in particular. You worked here in Spain, in Monterrey, for quite a while, a number of years. But this is also an important day for Volkswagen. Can you explain why?
Yeah, it's an important day for Volkswagen Group, for Cupra as a brand, but especially for Spain. And we were able to present today our new products where we unified on one platform 3 brands, Cupra, Volkswagen and Skoda, with the Raval, the ID Polo, and later with the Epiq. And with a heavy investment here in Spain with over 10 billion euros during the last years. And now it's a great moment also for me personally, having worked here for many years, meeting a lot of old friends.
I like how he's saying that, like, oh yeah, I worked here for many years, as if he was on the fucking assembly line, you know, building the cars. Bro, you were having some dry ass meetings, doing 0.0 for the people on the work floor. Don't give me that shit. Don't give me that shit. I don't care. What is he talking about? He didn't do any work, okay? He just did some stupid meetings while the people on the work floor were sweating their fucking backs off, okay? Breaking their backs, building your stupid cars, whatever, right? Anyway, just had to point that out. It was just too funny not to.
And seeing how emotional and how proud is our team having completed this project and ramping up the new products.
In the press, we talk so much about profit losses. We talk about write-offs that Volkswagen has faced, cuts that the jobs and to employees. Is this a kind of, you said it's an offensive. Volkswagen is on the offensive, is what you said on the stage. Does this feel like a turnaround moment for you or a turnaround year for Volkswagen?
Now we are looking back.
Also, mind you, I mean, he said it himself. This is a factory in Spain. This is not a factory in Germany, honey. This guy is, you know, the way I thought, hey, that's my bias, I guess. I thought the way they're presenting this news, which I think is interesting that they didn't put in the title that it's in Spain. But I thought that this was like, oh, okay, manufacturing jobs are coming back to Germany. Hell no, they're coming back to Spain. And you know why? Because probably Spain is very competitive in a lot of ways. China is also interested in, you know, going to Spain. So, you know, it's just probably in some ways there's, you know, a competitive advantage to opening factories there while they're closing in Germany. And they're, you know, I don't know. It's interesting. What can I say?
3 heavy years where we have a deep adjustment.
One more thing to add. So, you know, going back to the overarching topic of state, of national debt that I wanted to bring up. Germany, I'm sure, is going into debt to, you know, finance certain things that they want financed. But I don't think it's manufacturing. I think it is genuinely, you know, weapons production. What else? You know, like, it's just the most useless shit to society. That's what German state is going into debt for. That is why social services are being cut, right? They're not going into debt to build more public housing. They're not going into debt to build more manufacturing, or, you know, I'm sure they're going into debt to build data centers for AI and shit like that. But, you know, nothing that helps people where they need to be helped right now. No siree. Whereas in Spain, I can definitely see Spain maybe using public debt to, get the resources in place to build this type of manufacturing.
Adjustment and restructuring in Volkswagen Group. Everything we promised 3 years ago, we have achieved. Today is an important proof point on this.
So yeah, just to add, the state in Spain, I can imagine, is doing a bit more, borrowing and all of that, in order to create financial conditions or class conditions, class structures, in order for, certain industries to emerge. I don't think Germany's doing the same thing, and I think it's a mistake.
We have achieved everything.
Actually, let's look up Spain's. Spain national debt 2026. Oh shit. I just need to see where they will get their data from. Spain government debt accounted for 107% of national country's GDP in December 2025. Where is this info coming from? Say data? Really? Okay, but is this paid? Okay. Okay, I mean, just like a lot of countries. I guess it was always pretty high for Spain. Can I go even further back? I'm curious around like this. Oh shit. Like that. Apply. Hello? Is it working? It's not working. Max? 10? Apply. Did I break it? Uh-oh. What happened? Is the stream down? Is it my internet? Okay. Okay, what do I do 1 year? 5 years? 10 years? Okay, now it's kind of moving. Max? Okay, perfect. All right, so this is interesting because I was looking up the UK's UK national debt. What website did I use again? I think I think it was here maybe. Debt. Yeah, so interestingly enough, if you put them side by side, it gives an interesting picture, I think. Oh no, why is it closed? Debt as percent of national income. Yeah, okay, so here it is. So, actually, is it just an image? It is, okay. All right, here we go. So, for Spain, I think we're both roughly, this is 96 here. So, in the UK in 1996, it was between 25 and 50%, so probably around 35, something like that. And in Spain, it was already 60%. Then, I don't know what they did, but for a while, it really, really, really went down. I really don't know why. Maybe because they were... Why does national debt go down? I guess maybe they weren't doing a lot of spending. They weren't doing a lot of... I don't know. That's actually an interesting question. I should research that. I don't know. Why does national debt go down? Marxist. I want a Marxist analysis about this. Goes down primarily through austerity measures. I guess that makes sense. Anyway, but so for whatever reason, it really went down in 2008, just like with any other country, it really went up. And then it started to kind of go down again around the 2019 period, right before COVID. Same here. And then it just spiked, and then it was kind of going down again. But you know, the difference is, of course, for the UK, all of the spikes, everything, it stayed below 100%. And for a country like Spain, I mean, after 2012, it was kind of bubbling above it. It was going down, but then it really peaked during a crisis. Interesting. But yeah, so I don't know. I think it's interesting. I wish I could see, you know, what the spending is kind of made up of. But yeah, this is just kind of to illustrate. I don't know. I'm not going to make any further points because I just don't know the facts. But, you know, Spain is definitely spending a lot.
In terms of products, having improved design, quality, technologies, but also software, battery technology platforms. Then we have ordered our regions overall in China, and we have implemented financial programs which help us today to face and to compensate the heavy headwinds. When we talk about losses, you have to take into account that we have heavy headwinds in terms of tariffs, in terms of geopolitical crisis which affect markets, which affect supply chains. We have a China market where we haven't got the margins from the past. We have the huge transformation to invest and many things to compensate. And so we are quite happy with the progress we can see right now. And now we are looking for the future. And we are entering into the next step of transformation. We think that transformation is a new normal. And there we are focusing on reducing our costs even more, bringing down our break-even situation to be more robust for the future. But today we can say everything we wanted to do in the last years, we have completed, and now we are entering with full motivation to the next steps.
What does that mean, bringing down costs even more? For perhaps some people in Germany, they may hear that and be a little concerned. Obviously, there's been cost cuts that have affected workers in Germany, for example. You look at Spain.
Okay, let's see what he answers. Let's see what the question is.
You're building 4 new models here in Spain. Is the future of this company, this German company, essentially elsewhere? Is it in places like Spain?
Our home is Germany, but we are also looking to countries where we have great framework conditions, like here in Spain. We have a low cost base, low energy pricing, and also great support from the government. And therefore we decided to go here, also in our existing structure.
It's really funny that he mentions the energy, because why does Spain have that? Well, for a couple different reasons, but it's because, you know, it's just kind of more open to not be extorted by America or even by other Northern European countries. I mean, yeah, it's what I was saying. They're probably just offering better competitive conditions for them, and so they're moving there.
We have already had, and but in Germany we also have opportunities. We were able
that's why we're closing another factory in Germany. Yeah.
Reduce, for example, last year our plant cost of over 20%. On group level, we reduced our overhead cost of over 1 billion comparing to 25, the same period. But we have to do more. There we are focusing the whole cost areas, starting with engineering, material costs play a role, but also our sales cost. We are focusing and overhead cost, and that is a teamwork.
So what does overhead cost mean? Does that mean just the workers? Oh, indirect. Unlike, okay, never mind. So it's just a...
At the end, but we have to do it because we have to face a competition, and competition has intensified during the last years, and that's our homework to do. At the end, being able to offer the right pricing for our customers.
And I mean, if you think about it, like the way that China is able to be competitive is because, well, they have a approach that encompasses a really big land mass and a big group of people that they coordinate within that. You know, not every province is gonna have their like carbon copy of each other. No, different provinces, different areas of China are, you know, specialized and put into relation with each other in ways that just make it very efficient to produce certain, especially high-tech manufacturing. And Europe just doesn't have that at all. Europe is still a bunch of, you know, bourgeois states. Yeah, we have like one European market, but it's still, you know, a couple different European bourgeois states fighting for dominance in one way or the other. And especially with America, like Europe is funny because on the one hand, the European nations want to be independent and we got to be strong, we got to pull back, like, you know, like kind of retreating from the global stage, but also still wanting to be Europe together and this type of shit. And then you have the United States coming in, doing whatever the fuck it can to break up European, you know, the shared market, the European market, so that it can, of course, you know, have its capitalism wreak havoc a little bit more.
Are you defending your turf in Europe, or can you build it out even more in terms of your market share? Obviously, market share in China has fallen. Do you see Europe and these models focused on the European market as helping replace some of that?
Europe is our home market, and we have a very strong position in Europe with the highest market share we have ever achieved in the history of Volkswagen Group, 25%, and for the electric cars, 27% in the last year. And that is, I think, a good target to defend this market position. We are entering with a huge product offensive in the market, and maybe it will be also possible in some segments to grow. On the other side, in China, we are still market leader for the combustion engine cars, over 20% market share. And now we are entering also with a product offensive with over 20 products this year into the NEV segment. There are opportunities to grow for the future.
Oof,
and
a lot of
we
yapping.
growing position.
Can you give us an update on the U.S. and the situation there facing Volkswagen? You've said before you don't want to invest there and then face such a high tariff regime. Where do things stand?
Yeah, we are expanding in the U.S., ramping up right now a new plant in South Carolina. We are bringing back to the market the brand Scout, giving Scout a new face, and combining the heritage of Scout with modern technology. These are initiatives where we invest heavily. We have taken and closing a partnership with Rivian, where we are investing heavily. And there are more opportunities to localize, but it's true, we can't invest on the one hand side and paying tariffs on the other side, and therefore there's a need of compensation. Yeah, and then we are prepared to invest even more in the
That
US.
issue is still not resolved, is that fair to say?
Yeah, we are in constructive talks also with the different states where our interest in our activities, but at the end it has to be a feasible business case for us. But on the other side, we also see opportunities in a market where Volkswagen Group still have growth opportunities.
We'll wrap it up by saying we often heard in the past that Volkswagen may not have led on electric mobility. And in fact, Tesla was often seen as the kind of pioneer for so long by Volkswagen, but that it would bring electromobility to the volume market like no other car maker. And that was because of scale. 4 models, 1 platform, it seems to be moving in that scale direction. Why has it taken so long for Volkswagen?
First of all, talking about the figures, in Europe, Volkswagen is by far market leader with 27% market share. The second one is positioned with 12 or 13% market share. And so that's a huge difference. And so it's not correct that Volkswagen Group is behind in electrification. Volkswagen is by far leader in electrification. And now we are entering in the next period. And therefore it was important to work on the cost base, on the material cost especially, being able to offer cars now in the entry level for 25,000 euros.
All right, just a lot of yapping. Anyway, I think I said enough of what I wanted to say. Let's quickly go through this
European
one.
leaders are pushing to speed up membership talks for the Balkan countries. Now, that is the message that's coming from the EU Western Balkans Summit that's being held in Montenegro. EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen
Caterino, what are we
called
doing?
enlargement a geostrategic imperative. Russia's 2022 invasion of Ukraine has reinvigorated the bloc's interest in expansion. Von der Leyen said that Montenegro's bid to join in 2028 is, quote, within reach. It's one of 6 Balkan nations currently on the path to joining
Being
the
a
EU.
naughty little boy.
All right, let's go now to our correspondent.
Say hi. Hi, Twitch chat. Twitch chat, say hi to my boy over here. To my little fella Caterino. What's wrong with you? You're jumping on the table. That means you're feeling a little restless. But why? Oh, he's gone. He ran. Anyway. Back to this, but I kind of want to skip it because we already talked about it, and I don't know. I don't have that much extra stuff to add. Let's see. I mean, I guess we could just also move into just talking a bit more about Lebanon, Iran, Israel, Gaza, because of course this is still ongoing. Do I not have the... Wait, give me a second here, guys. I thought I had my article open from... to give a bit of an update. All right, there we go. Yeah, so as I shared on my story, we are on Iran War Day 98, almost 100 days of this. And I mean, Al Jazeera here reporting that Tehran raises doubts on deal as Lebanon fighting continues, and Israel strikes Lebanon despite ceasefire, while Hezbollah rejects deal as a death toll tops 3,500 individuals, people. And it is a kind of a crazy story because, you know, on the one hand you have the fucking Lebanese political leader being like, oh, we don't want to be used as like political pawns, whatever the fuck he was saying. Where is it? Did I save it? I don't know. Yeah, this one. Like, Lebanon is getting fucking destroyed, and meanwhile this, you know, the Lebanese president is like telling is rejecting Iran's effort to secure Israeli withdrawal. Lebanon is not your country. I don't know. I think that that's kind of crazy. It's like, but you know, this is coming. Yeah, I don't know. We'll dive into it. But you know, the strikes have continued. Israel's continued to carry out deadly strikes across Lebanon despite the announcement of a new U.S. brokered ceasefire agreement reached by Lebanese and Israeli officials in Washington, D.C. The violence has pushed the number of casualties higher, with Lebanese Ministry of Public Health reporting that at least 3,526 people have been killed and 10,733 wounded in Israeli attacks since March 2nd. Meanwhile, Hezbollah leader Naim Qassem has dismissed the ceasefire as a farce, warning that northern Israel will remain as a target as long as Israeli forces continue bombing Lebanon and invading it, you know, ethnically cleansing it by forcing people to move away. Caterino. Oh my God. He keeps going for it. I'll just put on the video and I'll go deal with that, guys. Give me a second.
Well, let's cross to Beirut. Renee Davis is our correspondent in the Lebanese capital. She's with me now. Renee, as I say then, the ceasefire really seems under threat today. And from where you are in Beirut, once again, there have been more Israeli attacks today.
Absolutely. So like you just mentioned, we've seen continued Israeli attacks in southern Lebanon. In fact, whilst the Americans and Lebanese diplomats were celebrating the ceasefire negotiations yesterday, another UNIFIL peacekeeper was injured and later succumbed to his injuries today. This was in southern Lebanon. It's reported that he was injured amongst clashes between Hezbollah and Israel near the base. This is a Serbian peacekeeper. This makes the 7th UNIFIL peacekeeper to be killed in southern Lebanon during this conflict. Two of the peacekeepers were French nationals as well. So continued strikes, continued clashes. We also received reports by local media earlier today that Israeli troops might actually be retreating. Now, this is in Dibin, and Dibin is in the Marjayoun district. I spoke to the municipality of Marjayoun. They told me that the Israeli army called them earlier today to tell them that the road from Marjayoun, Clayat to Dibin was open. This was a road that was previously occupied by Israeli troops. So they've said to their residents not to go on this road until they have full security and clearance from the Lebanese army. They also told me that they've been speaking to residents from Dibin who said that they did see Merkava tanks and troops retreating back towards the border. So that's an unpacking story there. But there's been, as you said, lots of ongoing clashes, and doesn't really look like a ceasefire from many Lebanese civilians.
And it doesn't sound like Hezbollah either has endorsed this ceasefire. As I mentioned a bit earlier on, we're getting reports of sirens going off in the north of Israel. And Hezbollah's chief, Naim Qassem, has made a statement effectively rejecting the truce. I mean, tell us what he said.
Exactly. So Naim Qassem spoke on Hezbollah's TV channel. It's called Al Manar. He was saying that, once again, I mean, this is not the first time he said this, that the ceasefire means total capitulation, total surrender, that it was laughable, he said, that in the agreement.
I mean, this is something this is something we have seen time and time again from Israel with Gaza, right? Like, ceasefires are a tool for Israel to, force Hamas, the Gazan population in general, to, force them to play by their rules, by Israel's rules, to kind of dangle it, a ceasefire in front of them when they're, suffering the most, in order to, when the ceasefire is accepted, go back to shelling or go back to, blocking the entry of aid, or blocking patients from leaving Gaza if they need to. Israel has shown time and time again that it is a completely untrustworthy partner when it comes to these ceasefires. And even the United States is like this as well. Also a very untrustworthy partner in these types of negotiations, as Iran has noticed. So yeah, we will have to see. But I don't blame Hezbollah, I don't blame Hezbollah for not believing it, for thinking it is laughable, because, well, it is. If they look at history, if they look at the history of the way Israel behaves in this circumstance, it is a laughable proposal to think that Israel will, hold to these ceasefires, because it doesn't. It doesn't every time.
What it was plans for a greater Israel, and like you said, he threatened settlements. Now Hezbollah continues to insist that the only way to get rid of this war is to fight on the front line. Meanwhile, President Joseph Aoun and Prime Minister Nawaf Salam insist that this is the shortest, easiest way to end the conflict, is that there must be a signed accord. So in what we know from the deal is that the Israeli troops are meant to retreat over a 60-day period. So this is something that's just not fast enough for Hezbollah. They want Israeli troops to be totally gone off southern Lebanon.
Yeah, can we be fucking for real about what is happening? Israel has invaded yet another country. It has bombed yet another country. It has attempted ethnic cleansing against yet another group of people, and we are supposed to be like, oh yes, Israel, take your time. Israel, please, do you want maybe sit down and rest a little bit before you go? Hell fucking no, man. They can get the fuck out of Lebanon. How about that? I don't know why we have to pretend like, oh, it's just gonna take so much time. Like, I'm sure, securing, I'm sure maybe they planted bombs or other shit that they need to dismantle, whatever, or they need to do a clean sweep. But just this, oh yeah, we have all the time in the world attitude, it annoys me to no end. It disgusts me to no end. It is just so, It's just mind-boggling, really. There's just no end to Israeli depravity.
Lebanon, and
As sponsored by the United States and Europe.
Israel wants them to disarm and move north of the Litani, and that's still at a deadlock there, and that's also creating a deadlock in the US-Iran negotiations.
All right, Rennie Davis for us there with an up.
Of course, leave it to Dropside to actually come in with some real news regarding this. So Israel angles for permanent occupation in Lebanon. So let's have a look at that story. We'll come back to the Gaza part of the reporting in a quick second. So for Lebanon, casualty count at least over 3,558 people have been killed and over 10,870 wounded in Israeli strikes across Lebanon since March 2nd, according to Lebanon Health Ministry. And on Friday, Israeli strikes killed 8 people in Lebanon. At least 8 people were killed in Israeli attacks across southern Lebanon on Friday, according to the state's national news agency. 4 people were killed in multiple Israeli drone strikes across the areas in the south. 2 men were killed in separate incidents in Nabateh and Kfar Ruman after Israeli drones struck their vehicle. In 2 other strikes, Israeli drones targeted motorcycles in Bint Jabeil and in Deir al-Zahrani, killing one person in each attack. An Israeli strike on Duer destroyed a residential building and killed 1 person, leaving another in critical condition. In Habuz, 2 separate strikes killed 2 men, one of whom was a physician. A strike on Kalawiya Tower killed 1 person, and wounded another. An Israeli aircraft bombed Nabati al-Fawqa, Zibdin, Sukin, and Jibchit near Tairi. Warplanes struck close to Jabal Amel Hospital, targeting the Bank Audi area, while Israeli forces carried out a demolition operation in Kiam. The Israeli military also issued forced displacement orders on Friday to residents of 9 towns in southern Lebanon. Parties continue to respond to Wednesday's quote-unquote ceasefire agreement. Israeli Defense Minister hails Lebanon's ceasefire for codifying Israel's right to maintain a presence. Crazy thing to say. Fucking absolutely sick thing to say. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz said Thursday that U.S.-brokered Lebanon ceasefire declaration includes unequivocal support for Hezbollah's disarmament, the removal of Hezbollah forces from south of the Litani River, continued IDF presence in Lebanon, as well as... Why are we normalizing this? Like, imagine we say this about any other country, right? Imagine we're talking about Mexico bombing Texas, invading Texas, occupying parts of Texas. And it's just like they're killing Americans. Like, imagine. Just like even your brain is like, oh no, that won't happen because the United States would unleash absolute hell and tarnation upon the Mexicans. Like, you would in an instant be able to imagine what the United States would do as a response. But when it comes to Israel doing it in any of its neighboring countries, it's somehow normal and we should be okay with it. Any country doing it is not okay. But, Israel is, at the same time as it's doing this, it's still committing a genocide against the Palestinian people, who almost half of the people in Gaza are children, meaning below 18 years old. It's so sick. It's such a sick, disgusting society. It's not just the government, not just 1 or 2 people, leading the chart. It's the whole society, and it exists due to the profound support of the United States and European countries, whether that's the Netherlands or Germany. There are many parts involved in whitewashing this and keeping it afloat. Katz described the agreement as an expression of the reality of Israel's military has created in Lebanon and said it could eventually lead to a formal peace agreement with the Lebanese state. Lebanese parliament speaker rejects booby-trapped ceasefire, says Hezbollah withdrawal contingent on Israeli pullback. Nabi Berri, Speaker of the Lebanese Parliament and leader of Lebanon's Amal movement, the Shia ally of Hezbollah, criticized the U.S. brokered ceasefire plan as a hybrid agreement that had been booby-trapped with conditions, according to Lebanon's national news agency. Berri said the text could have been viewed positively had it simply called for an unconditional ceasefire and an Israeli withdrawal from occupied areas, but instead included provisions requiring a complete cessation of fire by Hezbollah and the withdrawal of its fighters from the south of the Litani River. He said he would only accept two principles: a full and comprehensive ceasefire without conditions, and a parallel withdrawal of both Hezbollah from the south of Litani and Israeli forces from the... Whoa, that was a lot of wind out of nowhere. Litani River, he would... and ready for him to occupy. The rest of the text is unjust and not worth mentioning. And here the IRGC comes in, demanding full Israeli withdrawal from Lebanon. Issued separate statements on Thursday, declaring that no calm will be established in the region without a full Israeli withdrawal. Of course, like it is really sad state of affairs that is just such a non-wide reported truth, right? Israel is an invading, violent entity in the region. And nothing is going to happen until Israel, at the very least, withdraws from these active, aggression, campaigns of aggression. But also, it will still also have to be dismantled as an apartheid state, as a state that is committing genocide. In the sense of what had to happen in South Africa as well, with the dismantling of its apartheid. The IRGC said its primary condition for accepting a ceasefire in the regional war has been halt to hostilities on all fronts, including Lebanon, and warned that Lebanese people will not allow Israel to achieve through a force agreement what it failed to achieve through war. Give me a second, guys. My throat is acting up. Jeez. Sheesh. All right. The enemy must immediately halt its attacks on the people of Lebanon and swiftly withdraw to international borders by evacuating the occupied Lebanese territories and recognize the territorial integrity of Lebanon. The IRGC said, according to Press TV, our primary condition for accepting a ceasefire in the regional war has been a ceasefire across all fronts, including Lebanon. And it's crazy that this is what then the... oh God, did I close it? No. So, and this is crazy that this is what the Lebanese president is like. He rejects Iran's effort to secure Israeli withdrawal. Lebanon is not your country. On Iran, it is not your country. It is our country. It's our obligation. It's not your job to interfere in our country. I reject the statement totally because our people are being killed. Our houses are being destroyed. Anoun said he has met Iran's president twice and foreign minister several times, each time demanding a state-to-state relationship based on non-interference. He says Iran has not complied. Yeah, idiot, because what do you think you're going to be able to do individually that you cannot achieve better when you're together, organized in a strong, unified front? Like, do you really think that Lebanon and Iran have that different of a position when it comes to being under attack from Israel and the United States? It's fucking insane mentality. I really don't understand it. And of course they're going to be like upset at Hezbollah as well. Anoun maintains no direct contact, working instead through Parliament Speaker Nabi Berri. He said that Lebanese people across all communities, Christian, Sunni, Shia, have told him they are fed up with war. It's the Lebanese people, not Naim Qassem's people, he said, describing Lebanon's citizens. On the military deadlock, Anoun argued neither side can prevail. Israel can flatten the whole country, but they will never be able to achieve their objective, and said the same applies to Hezbollah. Hezbollah is an idea, it's not a geographic objective. What does this even mean? Israel can flatten the whole country, but they will never be able to achieve their objective. Look at Gaza, man. Do you think that is something you should challenge the Israelis to? Like, oh yeah, you can flatten the whole country, but will you get what you want? Like, that's not the fucking point, man. Like, what an insane thing to say. And Hezbollah is an idea, it's not a geographic objective. Hezbollah purely exists not out of nowhere. It exists in context to the fact that there is a very hostile, colonial, force in the region that is doing unspeakable things to the people it's occupying, and also to bordering countries and bordering people. What a delusional guy, man. What the hell? I don't even know what to say about it, to be frank. And this continues, and I mean, if I go back to the reporting on Palestine, Israeli attacks also continue across Gaza. These are not just attacks, these are continued ceasefire violations Thursday night and into early Friday, killing at least 2 Palestinians, wounding dozens. Israeli strikes hit a displacement tent. Oh my God. Sorry, guys. Ugh. You'll forgive me. Israeli strikes hit a displacement tent, a gas station, resident buildings, civilian vehicles, and a bicycle, while naval gunboats opened fire into Gaza City coastline, Palestine Online reported. Israeli forces bombed a tent west of Khan Yunis at 7 a.m., killing an 18-year-old and wounding a sleeping grandfather, according to a Palestinian writer, Musab Abu Toha. How sad, man. It is utterly disgusting, void of any justice for Palestinians. Palestine is the most densely populated area in the world. Gaza is the most densely populated area in the world. And now that people have been forced, all the people that remain have been forced into 30% of the land. Houses bombed, lack of adequate, food or medicine, and you're constantly on the run. You're constantly, a refugee in your own land. And then you cannot wrap your mind around it, around the depravity that is Israeli society. And I was listening to Norm Finkelstein speak about this topic, and he was bringing up a point. He was bringing up a lot of things, but one thing that I'll share for now is that he was talking about how, when you look at German society, the Nazi German society, when they were exterminating Jewish people, it was seen as this like, oh, we're doing it. It's, hey, I don't enjoy doing it, but it has to be done. That kind of attitude. You were supposed to shoot the gun and cry. That's it, But in this case, you have these genocidal Israeli soldiers, society, there's no difference. Both are extremely genocidal and want more violence. And they are happy about it. They're recording themselves laughing. They are recording themselves, wanting more of that, more violence, more death. They don't see any difference between a civilian or a military or resistance fighter. They don't see the difference between a baby or an adult. And that is frightening, and especially because so many of our governments are still so, connected to the goals that Israel has. And that is to destabilize the region, and that whole business. But the people that are lost, right? The people that don't get to live their full lives, that don't get to, they just don't get to live. And we won't know anything about this 18-year-old, what this person's gifts were to the world. We won't know about it. We won't ever know about it. We won't ever see, what these families could grow into, because, entire families are wiped off the family register because multiple people are killed either in one time or over many firings. And it is, this whole bullshit about, AI development and these like Palantir companies. All of the gains that it makes, it comes drenched in blood and dirt. Right? That's something that Marx always says, that these things come dripping blood and dirt. These type of capital gains. It's so upsetting. It's so upsetting. Another person was killed and others wounded in a strike in the Islim petroleum station near Al-Sha'abiyah Junction in Gaza City. 5 were wounded in a strike near a residential building in Tel Al-Hawa, and Israeli drones struck a civilian vehicle on El Quds Street with 3 missiles before reportedly pursuing the fleeing driver with further strikes. The war is not over. Gaza grandfather, whose daughter, son-in-law, and grandchildren were burned alive, rejects claims of ceasefire. Ibrahim Labad's family was burned to death after an Israeli strike set their Gaza City apartment ablaze shortly after midnight Thursday. He told Dropsite, this is so upsetting, man. I need to control. I need to get through this. He told Dropsite contributor Mohammed Ahmed that claims that the war has ended are a trick. I only saw myself and my wife. Everything else was darkness and fire, Labad said, describing being pulled out through a small opening under the door before learning 5 members of his family had been killed and several others wounded. 9-year-old Halal Labad survived the strike as the sole remaining member of her immediate family. Every day there are martyrs. Every single day. Everywhere in Gaza there are martyrs, Labad said. What war ended? It only ended for one side. Iranian foreign minister reaffirmed support for the Palestinians. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi spoke by phone on Thursday with Khalil al-Hayya, head of Hamas in Gaza, covering developments in Palestine, Lebanon, and the broader region, according to a Hamas statement. Al-Hayya praised Iran's persistence on a simultaneous cessation of war on all fronts, and briefed Araghchi on conditions in Gaza, including Israel's obstructing an implementation of the ceasefire while reaffirming the resistance factions committed to continuing until Palestinian national objectives are achieved. Hamas arrives in Cairo ahead of new rounds of ceasefire talks. A Hamas delegation led by Khalil al-Hayya, the group's leader in Gaza, arrived in Cairo on Friday ahead of a new round of negotiations expected to begin on Saturday and continue for several days. Hamas said the talks with Egyptian officials and mediators would focus on completing implementation of the first phase of the ceasefire agreement, stopping repeated Zionist aggressions on the Gaza Strip, and establishing mechanisms for moving the second phase of the deal. The delegation is also expected to hold meetings with Palestinian factions to coordinate a unified national position. So Gaza flotilla volunteers held 11 days in Libyan black site, entered dry hunger and water strike. 10 volunteers with the Global Samud flotilla detained in Benghazi, Libya for 11 days while attempting to reach Gaza. Okay, I see. The group has been held without access to lawyers, embassies, or independent medical teams. In a secretly placed phone call, one detainee described the location as a black site similar to a CIA black site, a prison that has no name. The organizers are calling on the Argentine government. One member is an Argentine national, the UN, and the International Committee of the Red Cross, and foreign ministers of all nationalities involved to intervene immediately to prevent irreversible harm. Ireland bans Ben Gvir and Smotrich from entering the country. That's good. Israel transfers Gaza doctor to solitary confinement. Palestinian rights group says May was deadliest month of 2026 in Gaza. May 2026 recorded the highest death toll for any month of 2026. The Palestinian Center of Human Rights announced Thursday with 119 killed, including 19 children and 10 women. Women, children, and the elderly account for roughly 30% of Israel's victims in May. Israeli forces shoot 2 Palestinians in Hebron. Yeah, and then I just wanted to quickly go. I mean, we can go. I don't know if I had any more videos about this. Yeah, let's just keep watching this and
For more, we can cross to our reporter Antonia Kerrigan in Beirut. Antonia, you were out reporting yesterday near the Israeli ordered evacuation zone. Tell us what's the latest on the ground.
Well, yes, yesterday I travelled to Saida, which is the city described as the gateway to the south. It hasn't been considered part of the combat zone as of yet. However, in a 10-kilometre radius, towns were evacuated newly yesterday. There were strikes within about 11 kilometres of where we were yesterday, as well as pounding of the Nabatea region. One air raid on Zebdin struck a house where emergency workers were delivering bread, and an ambulance that came to bring help to the wounded. 5 were killed in this attack alone, and our local fixer we're working with here in Lebanon, in fact, lost a cousin among those emergency workers. Now, I'd also like to talk a little bit about the many bereaved people we met yesterday in near Saida. We were at a cemetery which is for displaced people killed in the ongoing strikes, and this is for people who come from the south, who would wish to be buried in the south, but who for now their remains cannot reach the south, so they are laid to rest in temporary burial zones just outside Saida. The families we met, they'd lost people in just the last few days, including one woman who lost her elderly father, as from the town where he was displaced, he was travelling back to check his home was still standing in Nabatea, and on the road he was killed in an airstrike. That's just one of the many stories in that graveyard where they say they bury between 7 and 13 new people per day, including some Hezbollah fighters, yes, but also a lot of civilians, a lot of civil defence workers, and soldiers in the Lebanese army. Now, Israel has boasted 650 attacks, 650 strikes on different targets during the course of the week. The Lebanese death toll is currently being declared at around 3,500. And the more we talk to residents, the more we're seeing that the grief is just absolutely omnipresent.
And Antonia, Lebanese officials have been negotiating with Israel to try and end the conflict, but that's drawn the ire of both Hezbollah and its backer, Iran. Tell us what's the latest we've been hearing from officials.
Well, of course, the Lebanese President Joseph Aoun has accused Iran of trying to use Lebanon as a bargaining chip in their...
It's just such an insane statement to me. What bargaining chip? Are you insane? What do you mean bargaining chip? Like, what? How is Lebanon a bargaining chip for Iran? Like, in a way, it would make more sense if the guy, you know, the Lebanese president, let me be truthful, the Lebanese president would be more truthful if he said to Israel or to the United States that they are using Lebanon as a bargaining chip. That would make sense, like using Lebanon as a bargaining chip against Iran, against Hamas. But he's saying it to Iran? Like, Iran and Lebanon are in the same position. If Iran is able to get a ceasefire that includes Lebanon, like, what are we talking about? It's really insane. But that also just shows you where the priorities of the Lebanese prime minister are. Lebanese president are. Was he president or prime minister? President, okay.
negotiations for a ceasefire on their side. They say, Joseph Aoun has said the country belonged to the Lebanese people, not to the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. And the Iranian foreign minister has hit back, calling on the Lebanese government to save the country from what he describes as their real foe. Now, although the Lebanese government insists the only way out of this crisis is diplomacy, many people were unimpressed by the ceasefire announced Wednesday. As, of course, Hezbollah pointed out, the negotiations took place with, quote-unquote, someone who wasn't there. That is to say, Hezbollah were not involved. And crucially, the credibility of that announcement on Wednesday was very quickly undermined as Israel absolutely did not cease fire. They absolutely did not.
Oh, that's... Hey, for Western media, for European media, that's a pretty strong condemnation. As Israel absolutely did not cease fire. Period. Point blank, period. Underline it. Israel did not cease fire. Israel continued the strikes.
Cease attacks on the south of the country, and since Wednesday, of course, it's even intensified with, for instance, the strikes we described yesterday. Even the parliamentary speaker yesterday described the initial deal with Israel as a trap and an unjust deal. So it's extremely difficult within Lebanon, as of course Hezbollah are not on the same page as the government. Hezbollah were not included in those negotiations, and so far Israel have not shown the good faith to back what they agreed to in that ceasefire deal. The strike killed...
It's sad. I mean, if it's the typical thing that these wars continue, the weapons profit machine keeps churning, and it is everyday people that pay the cost. If it's not a financial cost, then it is the highest price, which is they pay with their lives for these, you know, disgusting displays of just the most violent capitalism that you can imagine. And the states all support it. It's, I mean, you have a couple states fighting back, but they, you know, they can't do it by themselves. Certainly not. Hey, Linton, what's up, chatter? Welcome. Welcome to the chat. How you doing? We are just talking about the ongoing, you know, Lebanon, Israel, Iran situation. Also, of course, keeping Gaza in mind. But yeah, I don't know, man. I just cannot with this fucking Lebanese president telling Iran that Lebanon is not your country. Like, what a idiotic thing to say. What an idiotic thing to say. I don't know. I already ranted about it, but yeah, that's where we're at over here. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're enjoying your uni-free period. Hope you're having a good weekend. Let's see if I had anything else here. I guess we can go on to this one, a bit more focused on
Joining
Iran.
us here in the studio is Alexandria Hudishtanu, a military defence analyst and a retired Romanian naval officer. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks so much, Tom.
So, yeah, I mean, we talked a bunch about, of course, Lebanon and just everything else around it. But, you know, let's dive a little bit more into Iran and the, like, ongoing ceasefire, because we are in day 98 about the war on Iran, the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran. And somehow, some way, we are still not done. Iran's foreign minister warns U.S. bases in region are legitimate targets. Oman reportedly briefly suspends oil loading at primary crude export terminal. CNN footage reveals fire aboard USS General Ford was more severe than Pentagon acknowledged. Well, that's interesting, I guess. I don't know. Houthi leader warns of readiness for escalation. So, you know, let's keep these points in mind while we watch that video by Al Jazeera. We can go from there. It's like the main Lebanese government doesn't even remember their own recent and not so recent history. Yeah, it's very peculiar. It is very peculiar. They really think they can, I don't know, sideline Hezbollah and just talk to their invader. Like, please, can you stop the bombing? It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Let's dive into this.
What we're seeing
Iran-US ceasefire talks video.
But these, I guess, continued attacks on Gulf countries over the last couple of days. Is this going to be part of the new normal, or is the ceasefire potentially falling over completely now?
Well, I certainly hope not. I hope it will not be the new normal for us living in the region. It's just that it shows that Iran only has one strategy at this point. It's this one-trick pony strategy, and this is not necessarily the hallmark of a strong military. It's actually the hallmark of a military with no option. The only strategy that Iran has applied throughout this conflict consistently was this random retaliation at regional countries with no objection whatsoever from the part of Iran regarding the.
As if Hezbollah was informed in response to Israeli incursions. Absolutely. I mean, it's just one of those things, like, you know, Hezbollah, Hamas, they don't just pop up out of nowhere. They exist very much in the context to what is happening politically. You know, the imperial machine kind of, you know, for better or for worse, forces people to try to resist against these, you know, imperial forces, these invading entities. So, yeah, indeed, Hezbollah is not just, they didn't pop up in a vacuum. They very much exist in relation to Israel, as a defending, or wait, I'm using the wrong word. What's the word that I'm looking for? As a resistance force.
The sovereignty of the states here in the region, trying always to blame it on the US and on the US presence in the region, as if this is something that Iran should decide for the region. I mean, the region is sovereign, the countries are sovereign, they can do their own work and decisions. I think this should not be something that Iran can, let's say, have a strong say in it. This just shows this type of hegemonic type behavior from Iran that Iran is trying to amass and try to normalize to some extent. But we see the region is always pushing back in order to not normalize, to not create this.
What an interesting reporting on this story. I mean, I don't know if the journalist is going to push back at all, but the framing that he's putting, like, yeah, well, Iran shouldn't blame it all on the United States. They're doing, I mean, yeah, I mean, I think you can blame it on Israel and the United States, unfortunately, for, I don't know who he represents, but I don't know I don't know where he's going with his story. With his analysis. The invasions won't stop if they throw the front lines to the wolves. They've been doing this before Hezbollah and will continue after if that's the way it ends up. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, we were watching some videos before you joined, and it's just like, yeah, they are occupying, like, they're ethnically cleansing the south of Lebanon right now. And the Lebanese government is just dealing with this in such a weird way. Like, again, this I didn't come up with this comparison, but like, if Mexico was doing the same thing to the United States as Israel is doing to Lebanon, I don't think Mexico, we would be so chill towards Mexico. Like, and it shouldn't matter. It's just an insane thing to be doing, and to just, you know, play down the severity of the situation. Like, but it makes sense. I mean, look at what other countries are doing as far as playing down the severity of a literal genocide that Israel is inflicting on a people. So it's part and parcel for what they're doing in Lebanon, for how they're acting.
Normal, and that's I would dare to say.
Now back to this guy. I don't get it. Let's see what he. I thought this would be a bit more of an interesting discussion on Iran, US from Al Jazeera, but
we have seen consistently from the region. As I said, this is just the strategy of Iran. It shows to be a one-trick pony. The cat is out of the bag. The region knows exactly how Iran is going to behave in this situation. US is also knowing that. So I'm pretty sure at this point, plans or at least assessment.
What is he talking about? One-trick pony. This guy, oh my God. Okay, so let me get this straight. The United States does a preemptive strike on Lebanon or on Iran for Israel, on behalf of Israel. You know, Iran defends itself, something that is constantly said that Israel is allowed to do. And, you know, the US, Israel, they constantly do strikes that target, you know, whether that's a school or whether that's other civilian, you know, points. They constantly target civilian areas. And somehow Iran is like the domineering force in the region. That's like a one-trick pony. Like, what is he on?
Are in order to try to circumvent this type of attacks.
Yeah.
Lashes out, basically.
Okay, I want to bring in Ali Akbar-Darini. He's a researcher at the Center for Strategic Studies. He joins us from Tehran. Thanks very much for being with us, Mr. Darini. Can you just explain, from an Iranian point of view, why Iran continues carrying out these attacks on sovereign countries? Why Kuwait and Bahrain here?
Why Kuwait and Bahrain are hosting U.S. military bases that are used to wage war against Iran. Iran is responding to...
Immediately coming in with the facts. Like, it is not as if Iran is just, you know, being a big bully in the region, just fucking firing everywhere for no reason at all, for no, you know, specific targeting at all. No, not only did it get attacked first, it is firing back at United States bases in the region, which is an insane thing to say regardless. Okay, wait, let me check this out. Now what is this? Also vindicated always with regard to labor. Andy Burnham declines to call Israel mass killings in Gaza genocide. I can't judge things of that enormity. Isn't that sad? He can't look at facts. Maybe he can't read. Have you thought about that? Maybe he cannot read. Maybe he is illiterate. Maybe he just can't read the numbers, or he can't read the definition of genocide. Labor leadership hopeful Andy Burnham has refused to call the Israeli military actions in Gaza a genocide. Asked about the violence in an interview with The Guardian, he said, "I can judge things of that enormity from where I am as a mayor of Greater Manchester." Then don't be a fucking political figure, bro, if you don't want to judge things like that. What do you mean? Andy Burnham, the progressive challenger to Starmer, is still refusing to call genocide a genocide. It's kind of crazy to not do that at this point. Like, even in the United States, motherfuckers that are receiving AIPAC money are kind of being like, yeah, it's a genocide. And then they call Israel or call AIPAC to be like, I didn't mean it. Whatever the fuck that guy's name was, like Wien or something. This guy is still, I don't know, didn't get the memo that even if you're, you know, choking on Israel's like fucking lobbying money, you still should publicly at least be a little bit more like, yeah, I guess it's a genocide. And this is the motherfucker that liberal freaks and the Greens wanted the Greens to not run against. Oh boy. He added, but I do have concerns about the disproportionate nature of what has happened in terms of the destruction, and that it has to be a full process of investigation. And blah, blah, blah. The world-leading International Association of Genocide Scholars last year declared that Israel is committing a genocide in Gaza. Israel has killed at least 72,000 Palestinians there since October 7th. Mind you, about half of the Palestinian population in Gaza is children, is younger than 18. But the actual toll is expected to be far higher. Burnham became the member of Labour Friends of Israel in 2015, and during a Labour leadership bid the same year decided to describe the boycott, divestment and sanctions movement against Israel as spiteful. Well, I guess at least he didn't call it anti-Semitic. That's something. He also promised to make Israel his first state visit if you want. Fucking crazy, bro. Fucking crazy. Calling the country a democracy with a long history of protecting minorities and promoting civil rights. Well, guess what, dude? If you're gay, you can't get married in Israel. So what's that, right? It's all fake. It's all a fucking house of cards, fake bullshit. It is his exact track record, too. He was big on the Iraq War, on the Blair. Oh, my God. That's crazy. The Muslim Vote, an organization that monitors politicians' views on Palestine, regards Burnham's position as unclear. Right. Burnham supports a two-state solution, has denounced illegal Israeli settlements in the West Bank. He visited the area in 2012 as part of a parliamentary delegation with Labour Friends of Palestine in the Council for Arab-British Understanding. Man, there's a whole ass reporting in here. He was one of the 3 senior Labour figures who in October 23 released a statement breaking with Keir Starmer's position and asked him to call for a ceasefire. Burnham, along with London Mayor Sadiq Khan and Scottish Labour leader Anas Sarwar, said Israel had the right to take targeted action within international law. However, they said they had profound concerns about the number of killed in Gaza and the denial of aid. And even this... You can't do that on a population you're keeping captive. So it's just weird. It's just lies and bullshit. The Manchester mayor also backed the formal recognition of a Palestinian state, co-signing a letter in June 25, demanding the UK government take action to protect the two-state framework. The UK went on to recognize a Palestinian state in September 2025. Whew. This is a progressive one. Oh boy. Then we're in a bit of a pickle, huh? If this is a progressive guy. Jesus Christ. Thanks for sharing that, though. Oh, God. No, but it is, I mean, I talked about it a little bit when I started the broadcast, but, because, I was preparing the news, preparing some, other studying that I was doing for a bit of a theoretical background. And one of the things that for me really came back and is that, people really need to break with the European illusion that they have, right? That Europe is progressive, that Europe defends human rights, that Europe, has development, that Europe is all of these things, that Europe is liberal democracies, because it is not. The way Europe is functioning right now, it is functioning exactly as designed. It is functioning as a coming together of various national bourgeois states trying to function under one capitalist banner to make sure that they transfer as much wealth from the working class to the rich as possible. And so even if that means supporting a genocide here and there, even if that means saying, I don't know, fuck it, let's be extra racist again, even if that means taking away trans rights, even if that means, scrapping social services for whoever the fuck, even if that means taking away your pensions, it doesn't matter. Everything is working exactly as intended. And anyone that is a political leader, no less, right? If you're talking about some fucking guy that's just a fucking factory worker, I don't blame him for not getting these things, right? But if you're an elected official holding office and you either don't have an opinion on these things or you don't know these things, then you are incredibly underqualified to be a political leader of the masses. It is what it is. Like, get the fuck out of there and let someone else get in there that will address these things. I mean, we were just now listening to this interview and I was like, what is happening? What is this guy talking about? This guy back here in the studio with the light gray suits. I was confused. And then immediately this guy comes in, dropping the truth, and everything becomes a whole lot clearer. And we just don't have enough of that, unfortunately. We have all of these like half-baked fucking Israel supporters. It's insane. The other one in the running is a current health secretary and Palantir's lapdog, who is also Mandelson's protege. Well, he is really the Holy Trinity. God damn. Oh boy. Yeah, that's I don't know, man. That's sounds like an absolute freak of nature. They appointed a massive transphobe and pro-choice freak to the head of equality and human rights commissions in Scotland too. Man, what is up with this shit, dude? It's just so crazy. Oh my god. Yeah, things are rough out there, man. Things are rough out there.
Kuwait and Bahrain are hosting U.S. military bases that
Tell
are
him,
used
Ali.
to wage war against
Tell him,
Iran.
Mr.
Iran
Dadaney.
is responding to U.S. violations of the ceasefire. First, effectively, the ceasefire has collapsed. Iran
Pro-life freak. Yeah. I just read it as pro-choice, but in my brain, I knew what you meant. I got you.
has made a new decision as of last week. It cannot tolerate U.S. violations because U.S. violations of the ceasefire point to a deliberate pattern. And that deliberate pattern is aimed at undermining and hitting Iran, the infrastructure of Iran that is managing the Strait of Hormuz. And Iran has made a strategic decision to expand its retaliation against U.S. violations of the ceasefire to include the infrastructure.
Been awake since 4? My goodness. What have you been up to since 4 a.m.? You got like a marathon at 7 or something? God damn. Yeah, that's, I mean, I'm not saying it's been 24 hours, but we're getting awfully close, dude. If you need to take a little nap or just some refreshing REM, you know, do your thing. God damn. I was going to say, I guess I didn't have the best sleep, but in comparison to what you're saying, I slept like a baby, I guess.
Structure in Arab states. Contrary to what your guest said, it's not random attack against.
I just passed out way too early last night, so I ended up, the classic. Yeah, I guess you're just catching up. Your body's just like, it's so over. It's so Jover. We're out. And we're up.
Bahrain.
I mean, it's kind of, like I've had that in the past too, where for some reason, I'm like, I ended up falling asleep super, super early. I wake up super early, and then I'm like, wow, imagine if this is my life. I wake up every day at like, I don't know, fucking 6 a.m. or something, and I just have a whole morning and a whole day in front of me. But then I don't know. I guess I don't know what it is. I'm just like not like I don't know if it's a real thing, but I'm just like I'm still at the end of the day a night person. Like I love the idea of being up early and getting stuff done, but I could do it like that. I could accidentally, fall asleep really early and then get up really early, but I don't know if I could hold that for very long on purpose, unfortunately.
Is a very calculated, precise retaliation against U.S. military infrastructure in the states that are hosting U.S. military bases.
So refreshing to hear it.
Alexandria, what do you make of that? What we're hearing there.
Don't pass him the mic. Don't pass him the mic. He's gonna say some horrible shit, dude. He's gonna victim blame an entire country from being bombed by the most powerful military force in the world. Don't pass him the mic. Don't pass him the aux cable. I beg, dude. Al Jazeera, please. Let's just go back to my boy in Iran, please.
From Mr. Darini that the ceasefire has effectively
what's he gonna say?
Collapsed, and these attacks seemingly are going to continue.
First of all, this ceasefire was never necessarily understood as a established understanding. It was more or less a gentleman's agreement. So.
What are you talking about? What the fuck is this guy on, man? What is this guy on? What do you mean? Oh, the ceasefire was just a gentleman's agreement. What are you saying, bro? A ceasefire is supposed to be a ceasefire. You have multiple negotiation teams traveling from one country to another country to try and get to a point where people don't die. And you're here. Oh, it was not really an understanding as such. It was a gentleman's agreement. Shut the fuck up. What a horrible comeback. The other guy perfectly explained that no, Iran is not just being a crazy occupying force. It is directly responding to firings on it. Like it's defending itself, and it's very specifically targeting, you know, American military bases in the region, which is, again, an insane thing to say. Like, no other country has that except the United States, for very specific reasons, to destabilize the region. Trying to mask the usual ceasefire fire deals the U.S. and Israel partake in on a monthly basis. Yeah, I mean, it is kind of funny to just hear this guy trying to, you know, what he's gonna say in order to make it right. Yeah, it's just not a ceasefire. It's just a gentleman's agreement. Have you heard that one before, guys? How do you like it?
An unspoken ceasefire, and
if it's an unspoken ceasefire, or if it's a gentleman's agreement, this is just kind of more like Trump, fucking Netanyahu, and like whatever Iranian leader just sitting in a room, just like smoking a cigar, being like, "Hey guys, should we maybe stop firing at each other for a couple weeks for fun?" Like that's how I perceive a gentleman's agreement. Like super chill, you know, very lax, not like ceasefire negotiations with negotiation teams that are constantly traveling in order to, you know, nail down every fucking detail about this. Trump had his fingers crossed during negotiations, so it doesn't count. Exactly. That's such an amazing way to put it. Yeah, it's just a gentleman's agreement. So, hey, sometimes it just depends. Sometimes maybe the gentleman is on his period. Have you thought about that? Hey, a gentleman's agreement, you know, maybe the wind is coming from the west instead of the east. So, hey, it's up in the air. You just can't know with these things.
It's not necessarily unheard of that during ceasefire this type of skirmishes still occur, and
it's not unheard of that during ceasefire Israel completely ignores that. If he said that, he would be correct. That's true.
We've seen that U.S. has restricted all these skirmishes to the maritime domain, and especially in relation to the Strait of Hormuz. That is to also counter the general idea that this is the new normal, and to counter the general idea that Iran has a monolithic control on the Strait of Hormuz. We see this type of freedom of navigation operation. We have seen those through the Project Freedom in the span of one day or so. Then we have seen this type of passing through the strait. Even now, Iran has said that they have retaliated in the let's say in the echo of U.S. trying to push a few ships through the strait and so on. So that being said, I will say this: the proofs regarding the attacks that Iran is doing in the region are not necessarily supporting the affirmation of our guest. I don't think the airport in Kuwait is a military infrastructure whatsoever, and I think that person that died, that Indian citizen that died, I think he's not part of the war for sure in any way and means. So we see that.
What a nasty motherfucker! What a nasty motherfucker! What about the school full of little girls that was targeted? I hate to bring up such a sick act with that tone, but what a unserious person. What a completely unserious person. I don't know why they are. This is like the typical, like, oh yeah, a news item is gonna invite one pro-climate and one anti-climate guy, and then they're just gonna duke it out, and then it's like, oh well, I guess it's 50-50. I guess everyone in the world is either one or either the other. It's like what is this panel, man? Can we do a bit of journalism and push back? Like, we don't have to just let him say this shit, but whatever.
There are retaliations, and I would dare to say these are in frustration of the fact that the length of the military arm of Iran cannot actually reach proper US. And more so, if we are to believe the reports that Iran is trying to push and the narrative that Iran is trying to construct, which other bases? They said they have destroyed all the bases in the region so far. So which other bases are they attacking now, if that's the case? So it's clear there's this type of construction of a narrative in which Iran is trying to play the victim, but the
oh my God, this guy he's crazy, man. He's crazy. He's on the loose. He's really cooking up. I don't know what he's cooking up. he's cooking up some real scary shit.
Longer the time pass in which each of these retaliation that don't show any form of, let's say, justification, that image breaks down. The veneer falls off and the victim proves to be the abuser.
Okay. Mr. Durini, where does this leave negotiations then? Is there any desire from the Iranians' point of view to try and get some sort of lasting deal?
Before that, let me respond to your esteemed guest. Iran did not attack the Kuwait airport. Iran did target military, US military targets inside Kuwait, and Iran's drones hit those targets at night. But the drone that hit the terminal at Kuwait airport was a Lucas drone, American drone, and it happened during the day. So he needs to correct his information.
Tell them, dude. Tell them. Let them know, man. Ugh, it's refreshing when people are actually on the fucking money with the facts. Oh, goodness gracious. It's just, I don't even understand why they let the other guy speak like that. And they're not even correcting him either. That's kind of the reporter's job, right? This is a perfect representation of how Al Jazeera is just Qatari state media. Who else could pull off such a gymnastic fence sitting? Absolutely, abso-fucking-lutely. Yeah, I mean, definitely. There is limits to what Al Jazeera can do. I think internationally, Al Jazeera is very good regarding the reporting on Gaza and things like that. In comparison to many other news organizations, but here you can kind of see the biases coming in for sure.
But
let's let this legend finish speaking.
The terminal at Kuwait airport was a Lucas drone, American drone.
Sorry if
and
that
it
was
happened
loud, but I
during
almost
the day.
killed a mosquito.
So he needs to correct his information. On the talks and a deal.
He needs to correct his information. Tell him.
Iran and the United States got close to a deal, the draft deal they agreed to, but the Americans walked back from that deal. And the Americans now are deliberately refusing to finalize the deal, hoping to use this nominal ceasefire as an opportunity to weaken Iran's leverage at the negotiating table. Iran has decided that this cannot continue. The ceasefire has collapsed, and Iran has decided to respond disproportionately to US violations of the ceasefire.
Right. Okay, clearly very different narratives here. Thank you so much. We'll leave it there for the moment. That is
clearly different narratives here, girl. Just oof. Yeah. Gymnastic fence sitting, Olympic level fence sitting.
To Ali Akbar Darini.
Anyway, this is why I can, places like Dropsite News, they're usually really, really sharp with their reporting. But yeah, we'll call it at that for now. Let's see if I have anything else. I think for today, that's probably going to be it. I already hit on some of these things earlier. So yeah, I think that's actually, I'm going to call it. I don't know. I was going to say maybe I'll do some gaming, but I think I want to do some other things tonight while I can. Maybe I'll do a bit of exercise I didn't get to. But my goodness. Oh, sorry, honey. I touched my cat sitting right here, and I accidentally touched his leg, and he immediately was like, pull it back. Wait. Oh, he's so cute. Hi, Katerino. You're the star of the show for real. They have such chads on the media front. Arachi and this dude cook so much. Oh yes. I mean, it is important at the end of the day. Like, things are going to be reported so, like either factually incorrect or like really in a really biased ways against Iran. So I mean, yeah, they have to put some people out there that can really communicate the facts as they actually are happening. Bit of shower time, bit of cleaning. Oh, I'll let you. I won't interrupt. Yeah, what else? Oh, he's so cute. He's cleaning his belly. Oh shit. Well, dropped too much now. Wait, Katrino, I will. Oh, so cute. Oh, you're just too cute, honey. Yeah, you are. Anyway, but yeah, feels good to be back for like a full death stream. Like as well, because I changed the setup a little bit. Got the cat throne. I know, it's so cute. I mean, I love it because, you know, it's just, it's perfect. It's perfect height. They're nice and close. And I think they like it too, because usually they always want to hang out when I'm like sitting at my desk, but it's not always comfortable to have them sit in my lap. So this is perfect. You're so cute, honey. Oh, he's like, enough. Enough. Okay. You don't like when I come in from this angle. I know. It's okay, honey. Oh. I liked it. I tickled his little toe beans, but he did not appreciate that. Yeah. But anyway, I'm really happy to be back on the death stream. I think I'm just really excited because I think for the summer, I will probably, for the most part, be streaming every Wednesday and Saturday, like spring and summer. So we'll be heading into that period. I don't know if there's anything scheduled coming up like locally here that I will be doing IRL streams for, but maybe I can, you know, find some interesting stuff. Like I kind of at some point also want to go to like something right wing and just see what's up there. Although if it's gonna be dangerous, I don't know. But if it's something that I can like, I don't know, can kind of infiltrate, talk to some people, maybe. But I don't know. I just want to do some interesting stuff. Hopefully, bring you guys along for that. But yeah, looking forward to that. I don't know if because my birthday is in the summer. My birthday is in the end of August on the 26th. So usually I like to go and do something for that. But we'll see. I don't know if I'll do a summer vacation necessarily. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe I take a day off somewhere. I think actually, now that I think about it, I think for my job, I need to schedule like 2 weeks off. I think that's like a thing. So maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I can even do something where I like stream for a week, stream like the whole week. Really get my numbers up, not my funny up. But yeah, that's kind of my summer period. I don't know if you have anything planned. Are you gonna go on vacation somewhere? Is that your sister? She just came in the room. Yeah. Can I pet you? A little? Not too much. Okay, honey. Anyway. Yeah, I don't have a lot planned for summer. I don't think. Maybe I'll go like a weekend or like a week somewhere. I don't know. Italy. That's pretty cool. Hey, Amsterdam. Let's go. I mean, that's kind of fun though. Like Amsterdam, like UK and the Netherlands in that way is pretty close to each other. So kind of practical. Not too far, but yeah, if you can get a deal, that can be cool. I mean, Italy will probably be very warm, but also just, I don't know. I'm biased for the Mediterranean, so I love a good Mediterranean vacation. But yeah, Italy is pretty cool. I haven't been in a while. When was the last time I visited Italy? Was it like maybe high school? Like one time, I think for high school. No, was it high school? I don't remember. I think it was high school. We did like a school trip. I think we went by bus. I don't know. Or was it uni? I don't remember, but it was cool. I don't remember a lot from it though. It's only like 50-minute flight to Amsterdam. That's awesome. I want to visit the Netherlands again as well at some point. I miss it. But I'm also thinking, I don't know, I'm thinking like I'll maybe stay in Portugal like at least 1 to 2 years, just save up a bit of money and then go to the Netherlands. But like move back. I miss it. I miss it. I haven't been to Italy yet, just France, Spain, and the Netherlands. I think a day trip in Belgium on a school trip. Yeah, I know, right? Like, I don't know why. Like, sometimes I'm like, I didn't visit this or that. And I'm like, wait, I think I randomly had like a day trip or whatever where we visited. Like, I remember very specifically in high school even, I visited Lille in France, which I guess is northern France. It's like random. Like, what are we doing there? It was cool. I'm glad I did, but it's just so random. But it sounds cool. Sounds like you have some stuff maybe planned. That's awesome. My friend might be doing his master's in the Netherlands, so we might split an apartment for the year. Whoa, that's cool. That's a cool experience. I mean, that would be funny. That'd be funny. I mean, Amsterdam, I don't know if he would be studying in Amsterdam. Amsterdam can be a bit expensive, but it would be probably a really cool experience. I don't know. That's how I'm looking at things sometimes. I'm like, hey, I'm in Portugal right now, working, doing this, saving up money. It's a cool experience. It's a part of the journey, I guess. You might learn a lot. Would be funny if you just pick up Dutch as well. You just all of a sudden you can speak Dutch. That's just kind of hard, but also maybe it's doable. But yeah. Scratching up the carton, are we? Hell yeah. Hi, honey. Oh, hi there. You see your sister? Yeah, he's locked in. He's like, what are you doing here? You're disturbing the peace. Hi, honey. Can I pet you? Or are you still in no petting mode? Hi, honey. That doesn't seem like you're in petting mode. Okay, I won't pet you. Anyway. But yeah, this is random, but I've been doing yoga again recently. And, well, I played volleyball for a really, really long time. Like almost 15 years probably. And then I feel like in the last 5 years of it, I also started doing a bit of yoga on the side. And it was the best thing ever. Like, I was fit because of volleyball, like strength and things like that. But yoga really helped me just kind of gain more, I don't know. It just made me healthier overall. To gain a bit of flexibility, just like, not just like unequal strength in like one arm or whatever. So I really want to pick up yoga again. It's just so nice. This is a weird one. It feels so familiar being closely related Germanic language, yet so fucked. I hear that a lot. Like, I guess I'm just too used to it to sometimes hear the comparison, but yeah, I can imagine. Like, but I will say Dutch is very goofy. Even if you know Dutch is very, very goofy. Like, it's very funny. It is. It really is. I feel like other languages, their personality, like Spanish, like the personality of Spanish is very fun, very energetic. Portuguese as well in a way. Like German personality is like, it sounds so harsh and very precise and all that. And Dutch, I don't know what it is. Dutch sounds so goofy. For better or for worse, Dutch sounds so goofy. All right, cat left the table, guys. No more cat. Hello, KG32321. There are quite a few words that phonetically sound similar, either similar or semantic. Yeah, that is the nice part. I guess it's just like the grammar is just insane. The grammar of it is impossible, even for a Dutch speaker. It's like you really have to pay attention in grammar classes. All right. Anyway. I think I'm gonna stop the stream for now. Stop the count. There's actually also elections happened, or like primaries or whatever in America. I'm not gonna cover it, but it didn't look the best in all places. But I did think I think a doctor that worked in Gaza won like New Jersey or something. So that was cool. I've never gotten into the weeds enough to hit grammar, just a few phrases. Yeah. for the better. Stay on the beaten path. I walked 10,000 steps today. Let's go. Wait, let me see how many steps I walked today. Only 3,000. That can't be right. I went outside today. Wait, where's my camera? Oh, it's not showing it? Wait. Why is it not? Oh. I don't know if you can see it, and it's probably also mirrored, but there it says like 3,000. I only did 3,000 steps. I guess, honestly, that makes sense, to be fair. I didn't walk around a lot, but still, that doesn't seem right. But that's nice. I'm glad. There's a good few wins in there. Also, finally, then there's a rule thingy in Denmark. Also, finally, then there's a rule thingy in Denmark. I think it's named Parliament. Oh, what's the new rule? At least one with Adam Hamaway. Hamawi. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I just don't have the time to cover it, but it's interesting. To keep it in the periphery. Ooh, also recently, I discovered this new YouTube channel, or I came across a YouTube channel, and it's just like, I think she is an American farmer, or at least she has a farmer background, but then she went into like some kind of, I don't know, but the channel is called Farm to Tabor, because her name is Tabor. Farm to Tabor. Such a cool channel. I actually have been obsessed with it. Where is it? Yeah, so honestly, has some banger videos in here. If you're even remotely interested. This one was really interesting. Botanical sexism isn't real, it's marketing, because I fell for it. I fell for this. I have literally even shared this as a fun fact to people. But anyway, if you're interested in a cool channel that talks about, again, because she is impeccable with her facts and research, so it's really cool, because I have a background as well talking with farmers and, you know, policy making and things like that in the Netherlands. So yeah, I don't know, it's kind of weirdly, there's a lot of overlap there. It's just very interesting. In any case, just remembered that she talks about a lot of stuff that is really interesting. Because she also really much talks about the overlap with a lot of political and economic type of things, and she's really pro-worker as well. So, really cool channel. No, not new rule, but Mette Frederiksen has made a parliament. I think that's what it's named. Google knows more about what I'm trying to tell you than I do. I'm guessing she had a vid on Monsanto being in the field, no pun intended. Honestly, this is the type of channel that I could genuinely just like watch every video from, but I think I've watched like only a couple at this point. Not even on this account, but yeah, I was obsessed. I got obsessed real quick. Anyway, wait, let me see what you're saying about Denmark. What are we working with here? Forming new government. Oh, right. Let's see. Danish Prime Minister Frederiksen secures third term with new coalition government. Oh, yeah. Wait, let me see what coalition she is in now. It said she has managed to form a left-leaning minority coalition. Ooh, minority coalition. Following months of talks after inconclusive elections in March, government was able to be formed after long negotiations. So coalition would consist of Frederiksen's Social Democrats, Socialist People Party, and the center-left Radikale Venstre, and the centrist moderates. Oh, so she is with the centrist. Yeah, so this is, I think I remember as well, like I think they kept excluding like the more left party. Neither the left nor the right bloc won a majority. The four parties, no coalition. A program. I mean, I hope they do good, but I hope they do good for the people of Denmark. You know, it's always a bit tricky, but you know, hey, if it's center left leaning, Well, wait, is there Denmark new gov? I want to see, like, is there Politico? Politico always has like a good little visual. No, where is it? What is it? Was it Politico? I thought it was Politico. Politico. Which one is it? No. No. Damn it, I don't know where to find it again. Whatever. We can talk about it another time. But for now, I think, I guess we'll just have to see. Or was it like a polling website? How do I find this again? Usually I do this stuff behind the scenes, guys. But I just want to see a graph of it. I want to see the graph, and I want to see which parties are in it, not in it. Let's have a little gander. I'm a visual person. I need a little graph. Opposition parties. Okay. So Social Democrats, Venstre and Moderates, supported by Union Party. Opposition is the Green Left, Democrats, Denmark Democrats, Liberal Alliance, the Conservatives, Red Green Alliance, Alternative Social Liberals, Danish People's Party. Yeah, I guess I don't know enough about them, but hey, I guess that's where we're at. So it's left leaning. We'll see what they do. But hopefully they don't go down the route of the of many others, and where they just, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know what to say about it. But interesting that, hey, coalition has been formed. I'm guessing she has a vid on. I think close to 60 days or something. They will do something with so the Danish farmers can't export as many pig probably. Hopefully the center doesn't take the reins entirely as they tend to do. Yeah, because I think in the past, what was it again? Yeah, they would do this thing where they would be partially progressive, but then partially have some super like right-wing positions on things. I think also with immigration and things like that. They will probably do the right thing for Denmark. I hope, man. That's always the hope, right? I don't know. I don't know enough about her at the moment. But they will do something with the Danish farmers can't export so many pigs, probably. I don't know about that. One thing I don't like is in 2029, then 16-year-olds can drive, but only at 45 kilometers per hour. Who even wants to drive cars these days? I like a bus. I like a bus. Or a bike. I like a good old bike. I like an electric bike. Ooh, I need to do a couple things. One, I need to go fix my bike because my cats broke, like they punctured my tire. So I need to go fix my bike now that it's summer so I can ride my bike. And I would like to get an electric bike maybe. I love bikes. Hey, call it the Dutchie in me, but I love bikes. The Danish immigration policy was the barbaric shift Shabana Mahmoud was citing when proposing stealing migrant jewelry on a proposing. Oh, I see. Oh my, yeah. There's a lot to be said because I mean, Denmark also plays a bit of a role in. Ah, Caterino, what are you doing? You want to poison yourself? Hey. No. I explained this before. Sorry for the dramatic leaving. But my grandma, she brought a whole lot of cherries from the village that she visited. But, I don't know, cats and cherry leaves don't mix well. So my cats keep trying to get into the bag full of cherries. But I'm like, no, you're going to poison yourself. There's cyanide in there or something. I don't know. Anyway. Ooh. Trying to land this plane, guys. Anyway. But thank you guys for joining. And then I'm going to stop the stream here for now. Let's see. Since Mette Frederiksen got prime minister, there came 2,000 more % of immigrants to Denmark. Now I think we get 6,000 per year or something that some guy said. I will say this. Immigrants are never going to be the problem. Okay? Immigrants, and this is true in many countries, immigrants always contribute more than they are ever able to get out. So immigrants are a really important part of a healthy economy because, you know, it's just what happens. You know, you will need more labor as an economy develops, and social programs that are constantly getting gutted still need people to pay into them. And that's unfortunately the position that migrants also take up, is that they contribute a lot to these social systems, but they're not able to use them. And so in this case, Danish people will be able to use social services that they are not fully able to fund themselves, because the actual bad guy, and that is the wealthiest people and the biggest corporations that are not paying enough taxes, because they're taking all of the money out of Danish society. It's a guy who wants all the immigrants out, said it. I think the guy that said it was the leader of Dansk Folkeparti or something. Absolutely. I mean, people like that, they flourish by lying to people and telling lies about immigrants, telling lies about women, telling lies about all kinds of people, so that, you know, we blame all of these fake, you know, perpetrators instead of the actual people causing the harm. And that is the people that pay his salary, or that, you know, give him money behind a closed door. And that is the big corporations and the wealthiest people, or even Americans, you know. So don't get it twisted. Immigrants contribute a lot to any place that they go to. It is the big corporations that are stealing from you. Mortensen Messerschmidt is his name, and he gets the immigrant thing up many times, but I don't know what he does. I don't think he will do much. I mean, I hope so. You know, I hope people don't believe his lies. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today. Thank you so much for joining. It was a good time. I'm glad to be back behind my desk, like I said. We're going to go strong for this for these next couple months in the summer, bringing you guys a lot of news commentary and other fun little updates about my life. I'll try to entertain you guys with a bunch of different things. And of course, if you want to follow me on Instagram and things like that, feel free. When is the next stream? Great question. So my next stream, I will always stream on Wednesdays and Saturdays. On Wednesdays, I stream at my 6 p.m. until 8 p.m., which maybe for you is 7 p.m. until 9 p.m. And on Saturdays, I always stream for my 8 p.m. until, I don't know, 11 p.m. or midnight, which for you probably is, I start Saturdays at 9 p.m., I think. Have a good rest of the night. Thanks, Linton. You too, man. Peace. And KG32321, I'm an hour before GTM. Wait, let me just see. What is time difference between Portugal and Denmark? So Denmark is always 1 hour ahead. So if it's 8 p.m. for me, it's 9 p.m. for you, assuming that you're living in Denmark. So yeah, and we can see that if we look on the map. Woohoo! Yeah, I guess the UK and Portugal is like the same, and Iceland, and then everything else is blue, and then there's other stuff. So yeah, that's funny. Yeah, actually, if you're in the UK, you're actually similar time as me. I always have to do an hour extra for my like Dutch friends, my Spanish friends, but UK is actually the same. I also need to lock in on fixing my RC cars and training, but I was sick this week. Dude, I was sick as well. It sucks, but it's okay, because sometimes you need some rest, you need to drink a lot of water, get some good sleep, and sometimes it also helps to take a step back, and then you can go into it with a fresh mind and good health. So I hope you have a good recovery, and you'll be okay. Maybe you have some time to do research, and then you can you can go into it with a lot of extra knowledge. I also got to find a way to use a smoke bomb on your car. Man, you're always working on some crazy new ideas. I hope I hope it goes well. Good luck with that. All right. Once again, thanks everyone so much for joining the broadcast. Don't forget to follow me on my little socials over here. And I'll talk to you guys later. The smoke bombs are still in my closet. That sounds dangerous, but be safe. Be safe, KG. Be safe. I'll see you in another stream. Bye.